Welcome to another episode of Roses Are Red podcast with your host, Mrs. Red Rose, her co-host, Sam I Am from the Married Couple Podcast, and AC from Midnight Media.
I like that.
There's a girl on TikTok that went, "You want fries with that?"
Welcome in, everyone. I hope everybody's had a fantastic week, and we are on Friday and have a very, very interesting story, but I see that Sam has a different background back there.
Yeah. I am out of town for the next 9 days with my best friend doing some work, and so I'm chilling in the room that I'm staying in for the week.
What's Dave doing? Is he
Nice.
okay?
Well, no.
He's not okay. I knew that. I
He's
knew he
not. No, he does have to work tomorrow, so that'll be good for him. But other than that, I don't know what else he's gonna do to keep himself busy. I don't know. Who knows?
Wow.
It's dangerous.
Mm.
Down by the river. I need that little sound thing that does. Down by the
Yeah, he'll be
Down
there
by the
tomorrow
river.
night.
So welcome in, everyone. Welcome. Hey, Daniel, welcome. Oh,
Hello.
No, he's gonna watch that at our house on Netflix with Drunk Neighbor is what he's gonna be doing. He told me he wasn't gonna wait for me to to come home to watch that. So
Yeah, right. The new Beverly Hills Cop. It came out.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
and now everybody's excited in this house to go see it. So,
It's
like, all right, you guys can go.
like a
I'll stay home.
45-year-old thing. Like, come on, man. That was a long time ago. That
Yep.
was a long time ago. That's a long sequel to make.
Yes. Well, welcome in, everybody, and we have a story for you. This is let's jump into the story because it's you can find it on Netflix. It's called American Nightmare. Boy, did this story have my head spinning. You
Holy
know,
moly.
I,
There was so many layers to this.
I'm gonna be honest. The beginning of it, I'm like, oh, I was telling Sam, I'm like, oh, she's dead. She's done. Hey, truthful. And and then all of a sudden it changes where it flips the story around. I'm like, what the fuck? What the hell is going on here?
Mm.
It's a crazy story. And I know, AC, this is a story you picked. You wanna dive right into it?
Sure. Yeah. Give me a moment here to grab that. So this is a story of Denise Huskins, right? She was a victim of a pretty harrowing kidnapping incident on March of 2015, and she's this is what you were talking about when we just didn't know at the beginning. It seems to be one way. It's presented one way, which is Netflix is pretty good about doing that. But the
Mhm.
more you watch and the more you pay attention, oh wow, that's a lot of me. Oh, it's you, everybody. I saw a
It's all
bunch of
of us.
comments coming in. I was like, we're popular. So it kind of started with a home invasion. Yeah. And Denise Huskins and her boyfriend, Aaron Quinn, they experienced a home invasion in Vallejo, California. Where's Vallejo, California, Rose?
It's close to LA, if I'm not mistaken. Super close to Orange County, like LA, so it's not very far.
An intruder or intruders broke into their home and they drugged them and kidnapped Huskins. So Denise. Okay.
Mhm.
And they asked for a ransom. And then after the abduction, the kidnapper demanded a ransom for the Huskins' safe return. And then Aaron Quinn, upon waking up, found a voicemail demanding the payment be done by noon that Wednesday. And the police response was initially that when Quinn, the boyfriend, reported the crime, the Vallejo Police Department, they dismissed the case as a hoax. Which
Well,
was,
initially they blamed the boyfriend,
Mhm.
Quinn.
it's always the people right
And
next to you. Yeah. It's always like,
he woke up and said, he goes, I know that they said not to call the cops, but I got to make sure she's safe. I got to get her back.
what do you do then?
And he goes, I got to call. And so he did. And he goes in and they take all of his clothes for, evidence. They put him in jail clothes. And one of the things they found interesting is they were like, in the interview with him, as they were interrogating him, pretty much, he was over everything. He goes, they drugged me. Uh, they put the goggles on my eyes, and then they took her. But
Fishy right
basically,
there, right? Did you feel like it's fishy right there?
well,
He
I mean,
was
the
explaining it.
right away, I mean, he was like, I want her back, I want to find her, but right away the cop goes, for a minute I thought you were telling the truth, but it's my job to put the puzzle pieces together, and my job is to make you look like the monster.
Here we go.
They gave him a lie detector test. They held it. I mean, he was at one after the lie detector. He goes, I didn't think I needed this, but I think I need a lawyer now because you're not listening to what I'm saying.
Right.
I mean, obviously they always go after the boyfriend, right? I mean, anything
Always.
ever happens to a spouse, it's the other one. You know what I mean? Boyfriend,
Right.
girlfriend, whatever.
It's usually Occam's razor. The simplest answer is the one that is
Right,
right
but
and the
I
easiest.
mean, they jumped to it so quickly. He was being cooperative. He wasn't changing his story. He was not inconsistent. He had been drugged for Pete's sakes. I mean, at least they could do is, test his blood, to see if he had been, But then they also said, "Oh, you guys had a fight, blah blah blah." One of the things he said that the kidnapper said was that, oh shit, we were coming for Andrea, which was his ex. But regardless, they took Denise instead because fuck it, we're gonna get money anyway,
Somebody's gonna pay. Yeah.
Yeah, they took her and didn't even. I mean, I just found that like you'd think he'd be like abort, abort, the wrong person,
Right.
but
No. Someone's gonna get it. Someone's gonna get it.
right, exactly.
So so when Quinn
Well, his demeanor throughout when he was interrogation, the way like they showed him, especially in the documentary on Netflix, he was just so like nonchalant, very sit back, like calm and collective. So my head went to, oh, he did it. He did something to her. That was
Me,
my first
he
reaction in
felt
the
like
beginning.
he was to me, it
That's
felt
why
like he was scared and sad and didn't know what to do, and he, trusted the cops, so he called them, I mean, for better or not or worse, he trusted them. He thought, "Oh, they're gonna help. That's what they're there for."
right.
He had
The
no
last thing
reason
you
to
think is
believe
like the
that
people.
they
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, I saw that he was scared for her and was trying to do the right thing. I didn't seem that he was very, he seemed calm, but I also think he was still probably coming off effects of being drugged, I mean, that wasn't his fault, you know what I mean? That
Or
he
is
had
it?
been
Yeah.
given a
Unless you have a
sedative.
gang,
Right.
unless you have a gang of cops that need to make a conviction along with the DA. That this is the other part, right? So remember,
Mhm.
Barbara, the DA Barbara was amazing.
Mhm.
She's not corrupted. She has morals. She wanted to take on that case herself.
Mhm.
She said, That's my friend, that's my decorated Air Force veteran cop that got murdered. I want to put this guy under the jail," and she did.
Mhm.
Those, and I'm sure 95% of people are uncorruptible in that position, but sometimes there's a big gang of cops that need to do something good so they don't look bad, and they have to do something. They have to do something, and the something isn't always the right thing. So,
Well, yeah, and, yeah, we'll go on, and then I'll mention what I
yeah,
was just gonna say, never mind.
you sure?
Yep, it makes more sense later on,
Okay,
so
Rose, you good?
I'm good. Yep.
Okay, so when Quinn went to report the crime to the police, he became the suspect. Matthew Mueller later pled guilty to Huskins' kidnapping and his serving the sentence, not to give away the whole thing, but Huskins and Quinn participated in the Netflix documentary that went over the harrowing detail. So we'll read on here, and then so let's read about the home invasion. So Huskins and Quinn home invasion. What started it all was in 2015, They called the Vallejo Police Department, and they said that they had been invaded by an intruder, or intruders had forcibly drugged them and kidnapped Huskins. Yeah. They were tied up, and Huskins was abducted. And then, according to the FBI affidavit obtained by NBC News in 2015, Huskins was forced to bind Quinn with zip ties during the break-in, and the couple were kept in a closet in their home. The suspect forced Quinn to wear blackened swim goggles and made him write down numbers for the couple's financial accounts, along with their Wi-Fi passwords, as the affidavit stated. Say that 5 times fast.
Words are hard,
Matthew,
man.
they are always, especially when they put the two hard words together.
Yeah,
Fucking super hard now. Like,
I know.
so Matthew Mueller put Huskins in the trunk of his car, and then in his home in South Lake Tahoe, which is beautiful, by the way. I love Lake Tahoe.
Hmm.
I can imagine something like this going on there. She was kept against her will for 2 days. And then when Quinn awoke, he heard a voicemail message on his phone demanding that he pay the ransom. Huskins safe return by noon that Wednesday, as the affidavit mentioned. And then the investigator said that they found videos of Mueller sexually assaulting Huskins while she was blindfolded. So there's sexual assault in this. We're talking about kidnap, ransom,
Right. But
sexual
that was
assault.
only brought to light after they realized that it wasn't a hoax. I mean,
It's a good way to
what
start it.
happened.
That's the real framework of it. But now we can talk about
Yeah.
the hoax, because like that was crazy. Because now we're talking about cops maybe doing the right thing, maybe not doing the right thing, and like I said, sometimes people just need to make things happen for their job instead of like, I'm going to lose my $200,000 a year job. You know, I have to prosecute someone. When things become for money, it's instant corruptibility, right? Like as soon as there's money in politics, you can assume that everybody's getting paid off. You have to, because that's the ultimate corruptible thing, right? Unless you make billions of dollars a year and nothing can corrupt you because you're already like, right? But why would you do that job? That's the issue.
Right. I mean, again, once they did release her 48 hours later, and she was seen. They released her down in Huntington Beach, where her dad lives, where she grew up. And they thought, oh, that's weird. But she immediately gave a statement. Initially, though, she didn't mention the sexual abuse,
Right.
because she was told if she did, they would come for her again and her family, and it would be worse. She was afraid. She had just gone through 48 hours of hell, right?
Yeah.
And so after that, she thought, I need to find a lawyer. And she did, because she wanted to make sure she did things correctly. And when she talked to the lawyer said we need to do an SART test, a SART test, which is the sexual abuse test, at the emergency room. He called the Vallejo Police Department. He goes, you need to get her in there now. And they said, no, she needs to come talk to us first.
Right. That's when fishy shit starts happening. Wait, when they put you somewhere, they detain you. I was watching this video the other day about this cop who stops cops. Like the one time where a cop stops a cop that's undercover, right? And the
Right.
cop gets out. He's like, and you see the bravado of these uniformed cops, and they're like, yeah, buddy, whatever. He's like giving him all the credentials, but can't say that he's undercover, so he has to omit something.
Mm-hmm.
They kept this, you know what I'm saying? Like they can do anything. And then when they put you to the side or they put you in a car for a long time, they go corroborate their story. And then they call the chief. And then the chief comes and they're like, well, no, that's not what happened. This is what happened. Everybody's solidified in that story. Therefore, this is
Right.
what really happened.
And what had happened, she talked to the police. She didn't mention the sexual assault. However, because she left after that, they wanted her to come downtown and give more of a statement. But she's like, I feel like there's something off here. Plus, she was afraid for her life based on the events of the last 48 hours. So she thought, let me have somebody else on my side here. The cops, because she didn't talk to them right away, went on camera and said they believed it was all a hoax. They wasted resources. Uh, it was a whole press conference, even after and that was before she had an in-depth conversation with them. But they didn't even give her time to. And when she went to them and gave them the whole story, had it corroborated by the SART, the SART test, they still would not admit to the general public that
Yeah.
they still thought it was a hoax.
Yes. Yeah, for sure. I mean, again, look, if you make a mistake, and it's
Most
like
people dig in. I mean, they dig their
you and
heels
your
in and are like, I'm gonna
now
die by this mistake.
imagine you have a power trip, like a complex, like a God
Mhm.
complex, and you have buddies that think the same. It's a big fraternity, so no matter what happens, we're all going to cover for each other. It's normal.
Mhm.
Any fraternity, right? If you're sorority or whatever, like we didn't throw the eggs at the house, whatever, you know what I mean? Like, of
Right.
course not. You're going to band together and say whatever the hell. And now you can lose your job, you can go to jail, you can be publicly humiliated. Absolutely, I'm going to band together with my friends and say I did something else.
Yeah, I mean, it
So
uh
it's such a turn. It's such a roller coaster because you're thinking one way in the beginning, and then it switches in the middle, and then it switches again, and you're just like, all right, where are we going with this? You know, especially after wasn't the guy that kidnapped her sending ransom or sending letters and saying
oh,
you need to
he
apologize?
yeah, he was sending them to the media saying she wasn't lying. She's telling the truth. She was kidnapped by me, even it was an unknown sender, unknown email address, basically saying it was not her for some reason. uh, The
Why?
kidnapper,
What was the motive behind
he
it?
and I don't know, he was an enigma. It was like he was a kidnapper, rapist with a heart of gold. It was so weird.
I think everybody wants the credit too. Like if I'm a
The
Well,
essayer
recognition.
and
he
a
kind of
graper,
did.
like I didn't do it for nothing, right? Like
Right, but the part of it, he had attempted the sexual assault with other women. I mean, he had been successful with some too, but he had attempted it. One of the ladies um, said, "This had happened to me before. Please don't make me go through that trauma again." And he was like, "You're right. I shouldn't do that." And he left. There was another lady who I said, started, pleading to please don't. And because she was in a relationship but living on her own, a single woman for all intents and purposes. He goes, you know what? You probably should get a dog. This probably wouldn't happen again. So, and even when he essayed
yeah, Daniel.
Denise, he said he posed it to her to not be. I mean, of course it was traumatic, but he was like, here's what I have to do to make it, because everybody we want this to look consensual, but I have to tape it for blackmail on you.
And also to jack
So
off later. He also wants to jack off later.
that's exactly it. I mean, he was like, I'm not going to be aggressive, blah blah blah. And then the second time he did it, he came back and posed it, oh, it wasn't good enough, it has to look like it's consensual. So he took the goggles off that time and taped her eyes down with surgical tape, so it looks like her eyes were just shut. And at that one, he left alcohol in there for her to hopefully make it easier. So I mean, he's just an odd. Obviously, he's an odd duck, but
But
that
super
doesn't
sadistic
that
because to do that, like you have
he
to
tried
meditate that for
to.
a long time.
Well, that's exactly it. I mean, he wanted. I think it was his fantasy to have her or any of the women as actual relationships instead
Well,
of, what I mean. And I think it was his own delusions that
That's the way to do it. You got it.
created that. You know what I
Girls
mean?
love
but
that.
wasn't it
Oh
supposed
yeah,
to
sure.
be? But wasn't it supposed to be his ex that was supposed to be kidnapped originally?
Quinn's ex. It was Andrea.
Ex.
Yes, it was. But
But
Mhm.
but he said, "Screw it. I'm an opportunist. There's a beautiful woman here. They look very similar. I'm going to take this one and do the same thing." I mean,
I've gone through this trouble, but and that's what makes me think that he wants notoriety because he's gone through that trouble. I'm going to go ahead and do this thing, even though it's not the right person. At that point, logic is out the window. The reason you're doing the job is no longer the reason you're doing the job. Right?
right. I don't think it was ever for the money, and I don't know, when they found the Mustang that he stole, when they initially got led to him, there was like a blow up doll dressed in black with like a face. It was meant to look like another human. So if you had goggles on, you would probably assume it was another human. They said there were multiple people there. I'm not so sure.
It doesn't.
I think
I'm not so
because he
sure
got
either.
them in bed, he put a strobe light on them, and I think he did that as another part of his ruse. I don't know. Or there were, and the police are just not going to pursue them because they have the guy. I don't know, but my thought when he had that blow up doll dressed like he was when he did the home invasion, I thought maybe there wasn't a second person. And when he said his associates were coming over, maybe he staged that because all she could do was hear in there. She
That
didn't
was
know
it.
if, you know what I mean? And she couldn't see if
Very
somebody
pretty.
different came in, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I think
Well, at
maybe
that
that
point,
was part of the ruse to have a higher of a hold on them, or, you know.
but also to throw the cops off the trail, to throw people off the trail, because if you do one thing, you want to go zig, you zag, you're gonna go zig.
Yeah.
I get that, but imagine the premeditation that had to happen there. Imagine the sheer thinking, the planning of all of those
This
things.
man
Well,
is
I'm
a
gonna
Harvard graduate and was a lawyer and
right.
had just gotten disbarred earlier that year. He
That's what I'm getting
wasn't
at.
an idiot. He
You
was,
have to be smart.
But he
yeah.
wanted to get caught, though. He really wanted to get caught because then why would you send the letters in? Why would you? And I think
Because you
I
want
that
don't think he wanted to get
you want
caught.
notoriety. You want
He
you
wanted
want to
somebody to know it wasn't her, and it was, and
right,
maybe not know that it was him exactly, but he didn't want her to get the credit for a hoax. He wanted the credit for the actual crime.
right.
Mhm.
She wanted people to look. I want this to happen to them, and you do it so well that you're like, oh man, the cops think that they themselves did it. It wasn't even a crime. They have to know it's a crime. So he's desperate. He wants to send letters. He's thinking, how can I alert them? How can I tip them off without tipping me off, to who it is?
Mhm.
Did it work correctly? No, but at the end, but
Not to not
you know
to
what I mean?
what
Well,
he wanted to happen.
Right.
yeah, I mean, I don't
You
know.
wanted people to know, just not that it was him. And
Okay.
it's hard to climb into the mind of a sadistic fuck.
So this is what I was going to say earlier, because we're kind of at the point where I can, because we've talked about it being a hoax. One of the lawyers was like, "Why are you insistent on this not being true?" And he goes, "Well, you've seen the movie Gone Girl." And the lawyer was like, "It's a movie, for Pete's sakes. Do you think somebody would actually go, to those lengths? Especially, I mean, so they had that preconceived notion of a movie in their head. They saw what they wanted to see and didn't actually go with the evidence that yeah, they didn't go with the evidence that was presented to them. They even made Andrew Quinn put his phone in airplane mode while they
Yeah.
were, interrogating him.
Mhm.
And there was 2 calls that came in from the attacker
Hmm.
that they could have traced to where they
Intercepted. Yeah.
found Denise. 200 yards from where the house was, they said.
I don't want to distrust police or detectives when these things happen, but I'm
Well,
also not going to just because we talk about these things every week. I know that not
mhm.
every cop's like this. You know what I mean? We talk
Oh,
to great
right.
cops. You know, so
Absolutely.
and it's across the country. If you really think of the sheer magnitude of people that we have in the country compared to the things that we listen to, it's a fraction. Just because
Right.
we're consuming it, we're thinking oh my god, it happens everywhere every time. It's not at all. But
No.
this is a super
But
intricate
this
fucking
is
case.
what comes to the news. This is what people want to
Mhm.
hear about. I
Yeah,
mean,
you only hear the worst.
um,
Okay,
what
so
did
I
you
want to
think
show you.
about go ahead, I'm sorry.
Sorry, I want to show you guys where Vallejo, California is real quick.
Yeah.
It's past San Francisco.
It's north. It's NorCal.
Just a little bit, yeah. So San Francisco's right here, right down here at the
Mhm.
bottom, and then Vallejo, California is right here.
Got it.
Right. So her lawyer
Oh,
was from San Francisco and he, helped facilitate her, you know, going in and being questioned.
Which is not I mean, NorCal is not compared to Southern California. It's not to me.
Mm-mm.
I was just there like a year and a half ago. Seemed like a great place to me. Golden Gate Park was
Mhm.
amazing. Didn't have to step in any Any homeless people shit?
Any
Thought it was going to be a lot
feces?
worse. It was no. I was expecting to work into a war zone. It was pretty nice.
Yeah.
And this is before the Chinese president went to go and they cleaned it up. So there's no
Right.
question that I'm sure there's places like that, but then you have to think it's a
Hey, Mel.
city. You know?
Yeah.
Jamie. So we got a couple of questions or statements here. Well, if it's federal offense, you probably wanted some notary.
Notoriety.
Notoriety. Yep.
So
Notoriety.
you wanted the fame for it. Like you wanted like
Yeah.
not him, just to know that it happened. I don't want to go to jail for it, but at least they don't know it's a hoax. Like I went through a lot of trouble. You don't think it's a hoax? Somebody did that.
Mm-hmm.
The Grand
if
Marnier
you-
graper.
Grand Marnier. The Grand Marnier.
And then sounds almost like a serial who's advising. Words are fucking hard already.
Advancing.
Advancing slowly.
Yeah.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Hey, Jamie.
Hey, Jamie.
And
one of our
Oakland at night
co-hosts.
can be sketchy. Yes, Oakland at night can be
Mhm.
very
Oakland is
sketchy.
across the bay. Oakland is something else.
Yeah.
Oakland is something else.
Oh.
Yeah, Oakland's different.
And I do see Josh Dad. your favorites in here too. So Gosh Dad is a very big crush on you.
So in the mysterious case of the Huskins thing that draw parallels to the Gone Girl movie, which is pretty incredible. So the case was turned over to the FBI and announced that the killer, Harvard-educated lawyer and former Marine, try to swallow that one, was arrested for a home invasion and the robbery of Dublin, California. Which, incidentally, I worked for Tesla for many years, and that was all I had the Dublin store, I had Vallejo, I was pretty much knew where things were.
Right.
And they're all strewn across the bay because that's where Tesla is, right? And it's in NorCal. So those are all my stores. I talk to them constantly. Nice people. So if anybody's familiar with NorCal, you'll know where this is. A lot of different places in there. And I just visited last year, and I went all around just to kind of check it out. And cool place, but cool people too. And you never think something like this is going to happen because it never matches up with the place. Like nice places also have fucking horrible crime too. But they're like the high, like premeditated crimes. It's not like, give me your purse, bitch. It's like, I'm gonna put fucking acid in your face and I'm gonna tie you up and chop you up into little pieces. You know what I mean? Like much more intricate stuff because there's more to win. It's like higher risk, higher reward. So Vallejo Police Captain John Whitney stands by the department's assessment based on the evidence that they had at the time. So they're saying that during that time, they had this evidence, and that's what we're going to go with, which is very convenient if you just want to run with a narrative and get this done. People want open and shut cases. They don't want people to keep going and going and going. And those are the horrible things. Like, and then you can go to trial where you can lose the trial. And then what? If he wins, then the state gets nothing. At this point, there's something vested into the state. They need something back, right?
Right.
That's why a lot of people get wrongly convicted. And so John Whitney, which is the captain of the police, said, he was standing by the evidence and he doesn't believe the police dropped the ball and they will reevaluate the situation after the investigation is complete. Yeah, I'm sure. Hey, why don't you guys investigate yourselves? Tell me if anything went wrong. Hey, good news. We investigated ourselves.
Okay.
We didn't do anything wrong.
Couple things. As I was watching this, one of the things that struck me was the FBI investigator. Can't remember his last name. I think it begins with an S. Was an ex of Andrew Quinn's ex-girlfriend Andrea, who was originally the original target.
What are the chances?
And they right. That was odd. And then what was the other one? Never mind. Oh, one of the things that came to light toward the end of everything, and was brought up in shortly after all of the evidence that was already there was now brought to light because finally another cop in Dublin was like, I need to find who else he's hurt. But the chief of police told the guy who went out and spoke when they were calling it a hoax, he said, burn that bitch.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
And that's Captain John Whitney, right?
Yes. He denies it.
Yeah.
However,
is he still a police officer? Or no, is he out now?
I thought from the end of the thing it says Whitney, he was still there. Nah, it's not cases. What happened? Or investigations have been brought against the police officers, and the mustard guy. He got a commendation or an award shortly after that happened.
And even if they fuck up, they're not going to get fired. What they do is they go to another precinct. They just like move around. They'll go to somewhere else, and then they'll,
Just like priests.
yeah, just like priests.
Briscoe.
Angels Landing. So yeah, I mean, it could happen. I mean, like I said, not everyone. You know, I'm not talking about every cop, but like sometimes
Right.
when there's a big boys club, you know, maybe like even like Boy Scouts. Let's take Boy Scouts. You know,
That's the same
you,
thing. Yeah.
you know, you touch a kid's whatever, and the kid starts crying, and they're like, "Whoa!"
New troop.
And we realize we don't have enough. We don't have enough Boy Scout leaders to like just fire all the people that are fucking touching kids.
Right.
So, and we're not going to fold the Boy Scouts, right? So, what are you going to do? Just like, okay, we'll send me that guy who they don't know anything about. We'll put him here, and then we'll send you this guy, and then it's a big game of shuffle because who's going to be a Boy Scout leader after they find out? You know, do you want to be? You know, no one does.
No. Nope.
No,
Nerp.
but
Nerp.
and then they got awarded. So didn't they get awarded so much a settlement,
2.5
right?
million. $2.5 million for the way it was handled.
But didn't they, have, like,
Actually they did a defamation suit. So because of
Okay.
she was getting death threats through her Facebook, through all of her social media, prior to them actually finding Mueller, and everybody still thinking it was a hoax. I mean, it was national news.
Right.
She was the Gone Girl person, and people were
Look at these crazy
threatening
people
her.
trying to reenact a movie, like using
She
and then
couldn't work. They couldn't.
Right.
Neither of them could go back to work. They were kind of floating between family members' houses, so people didn't know where they were. You know,
right.
they were in limbo
Imagine you
until
get essayed, and then no one believes you, and then on top of it, the people who are supposed to help you are setting you up for their
one of
game, and the whole fucking
most
country's against you.
one of the things that was so sad, and I honestly got tears in my eyes. She was talking. She goes, "The first time I was essayed, I was 12 years old. I was afraid to say anything right away until somebody else got it by the same person. So
Right.
I spoke up. Nothing happened. They said I waited too long, whatever." So she was failed already, right? Then at 19, she was at a college party. Everybody had been drinking. She fell asleep on the couch. She woke up to being essayed by I won't go into the details, but she was being essayed at that point. She went to the cops that night because she goes, "This isn't going to happen to me again. I'm not going to keep
I'm old enough
quiet."
to know better. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm not going to keep quiet. A cop met her in the parking lot and talked her out of it because he said, it's a he said, she said. Nobody's going to believe you. You had been drinking, blah, blah, blah. So again, time 2, she's been failed.
Guys,
Then
this is a note for the gentleman out there. A note for the gentleman. Whenever you see a girl that's been drinking, do what you want because they're not going to believe her. Is that what they're saying?
they never believe. I mean, I'm not saying they never do. It's
You know
rare
what I'm
that
saying?
you're believed. It's rare that you're believed. So
So
then
never
this
drink?
happens to her again. And they tell her in the police report the affidavit after they finally believed that this actually happened and it wasn't a hoax. The police in the report wrote she did not have injuries consistent with SA because she didn't fight it.
Right.
She would and she goes, and again it happens and I failed again. Nobody believed me. And for one, it just made me so sad because a lot of times you're not believed. And
Yeah,
then
of course.
I have daughters and I don't want them to ever feel that they can't come forward or shouldn't or, whatever. One of the other, the victim that he broke into her home and he told her to get a dog. He didn't actually, it was the attempted essay. When she went to the police, they told her, or they questioned her boyfriend and said, "Is she prone to making things up or needing attention?
Of course.
Is she or what do you think she was dreaming? Did she make this up? So
Mhm.
she wasn't believed either. I mean, how
Right.
Nobody was
fucked
believed.
up is that? No.
They're not here to help you. They're
No.
not here to help you. They're here to help the state. The buildings that belong to the state. That's what cops are here to protect, not you. Not you.
It's just sad.
It's so sad. And the fact that she's not, it wasn't a first, she's gone through this before and they didn't believe her then. They didn't believe her now. It's just insane.
It was yeah, I mean, honestly, you know how the TikTok thing was going around, would you rather would women rather be, in the woods with a bear or with a
Please
man?
don't. Please. No, not a bear.
No,
That's
most
insane.
women choose a bear. You know why?
I
Here's
know.
and this kind of just came with me. I mean, honestly,
Because
if
a
you get
bear can't
attacked by
grape
a
you.
bear, no, right. And if you get attacked by a bear, at least they're going to believe that happened.
Yeah.
True.
You know what I mean? Not every man is
Mhm.
going to forcibly force himself on you.
A
However,
man like me sees that and we're like, dude, that's crazy. Like, I would
right.
never do that. I would try to help you or
Most
whatever. But like,
men would be like that, but there's so much of a constant worry of that, um, and then when it does
yeah,
happen, is what can I do? Am I going to be believed? Am I going to be told I asked for it? Am I going to be told I, dressed too provocatively? Am I going to be told
that's what I was
this?
going to
It,
bring
it
up. I
has
was like,
nothing to.
yeah,
It has nothing to do with that. It's about power. It isn't. I mean, granted, it's
yeah.
also
I
about
was going to
that, but
say,
it's about power.
does the bear have power? Does the bear have a system of friends that are willing to lie for them?
Right, exactly. It's a power dynamic.
Yeah.
It's rarely, I mean, it is sexually charged because that's the act, but that's not why it is done. So, I don't know.
That's correct. And then as far as the cops go, I mean, it's almost like they want to avoid things like that to bring any heat down. So like internal affairs doesn't come in and ask them a bunch of questions and like, potentially break up the department and their boys club. Because if a new cop comes in, and when I say this, I'm saying like any boys club, like any
Right.
club that, right, cops, fill in the blank. If a new one comes in, then you have to initiate this guy. Is this guy cool? Is this guy gonna fucking go along with it? Like what if
Right.
everybody's on the take? What if I get $5,000 from Johnny Cisco for looking the other way? And then does this guy take? Is he gonna tell on me? This is how
Mhm.
my family eats like this. This is how I got the boat, or whatever. Things get complicated at that point, and that's how
They
there's bad
do.
cops. Mhm.
It's I mean, thank goodness for the Misty, the new detective in Dublin who found the goggles with one singular blonde hair on them.
Hmm.
10 months
Yeah.
after Denise was released.
10
10 months because
10
he
months.
tried
And
to
she
do it
wasn't giving
again.
up.
And she was like, I'm going to find it. That's how all the other women came to light. She was on the hunt. And when she found out who it was, she saw the picture. She goes, it's got to be her. She gave the information to, she called the Vallejo police and they're like, yeah, we gave this to the FBI. You better call them. You're not going to get anywhere here. And then
Imagine being
the
so
FBI
like
didn't do a
just
whole lot with it until, I mean, she was like, listen, I've got evidence. And they were like, when they gave them the evidence, their mouths dropped like, fuck, we fucked up.
yeah. Oh, it wasn't so much that they cared about fucking up. He just told everybody.
We got God.
Right. Yeah. Like
We got
you
God.
remember when we all say like, oh, you didn't, this killer didn't care he got caught. That he did the thing. He just cared that he got caught. Yeah. Everybody feels like that. Everybody feels. If
Right.
you're on
Yeah.
the take, everybody's gonna feel like that. That's the fucking problem, and it's horrible. So
Yeah.
I'm gonna read a little bit of this, and then I have a video here. It says, kind of what she was saying about the home invasion. It says there were red laser beams pointing at them and sights from a gun. Rappaport said there's flashes or bright lights. They were disoriented and they were told to turn over. They were bound. They were put in a closet. Goggles, like Sam just said, and then the one that they found with the blonde hair eventually, and then and they were blacked out. So Quinn, which is the boyfriend, claimed that headphones had been put over his ears and recorded instructions, played telling him that he would be drugged with about a quarter bottle of diazepam and NyQuil. So this guy who ended up being the person, like I said, premeditated as hell. Like imagine making that you have to sit down and make the tape telling the guy what you're gonna do to him. This is so premeditated. It's like mad scientist shit.
Right.
You know?
And honestly, that also perpetuates. I mean, he's made them confused. I mean, he comes in with the flashing lights. He's got the headphones. It's another way to show that there are more than one people, more than just him there. But
Mhm.
and again, I'm not exact. I
It
know
feels
that
complicated. It
Denise
feels
and
complicated.
Andrew, yeah, they feel that there were other people, but I don't know if they would know based on, and not that it's a bad thing that they wouldn't. They were drugged. I mean, a half a bottle or fourth of a bottle of diazepam and NyQuil. I mean,
Thank you
that'd
for
fuck anybody up. I mean,
that.
NyQuil's
That word
NyQuil,
wasn't
but
hard.
diazepam, you know what I mean?
That word was
That's
not hard for you.
I medical terminology I can say all day. I don't
Got
know
that?
why.
Okay, got it. Diazepam
It's
and
my
NyQuil.
superpower.
Yeah.
But diazepam is hefty. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
So what exactly is diazepam? I've never heard of that word
Let's
until
find
I
out.
saw it in the
yeah.
story.
You know, oh, it doesn't give me a thing. Okay, I'll look it up. That's
Even if you
a
click
bum.
on the word?
Yeah, it's a bum link.
I
It
got
says
it. Give me a
404.
second.
Diazepam. There we go.
So diazepam is an
Schizophrenia.
anxiolytic and sedative. Basically, can cause paranoid and suicidal ideation. But what does it do? It's like Valium.
Yes,
It's an
Richie Rose says
antipsychotic.
is
Yeah,
like a
it's an
Valium.
antipsychotic. So
So is
also,
Xanax,
wasn't he
right?
right? So wasn't he diagnosed schizophrenic?
Mueller?
Yeah.
He's all fucked up. But the point,
No.
like, so what you were saying, to piggyback on what you were saying, so
It's a benzo. Yeah. So I mean, they're pretty
benzo.
hefty. Yeah. Those are hefty.
Yeah.
It's not something you want to
So,
fuck around with. And that's
no,
not
And on
but
something
top of that,
a lay.
y-
Plus, they were drinking. I mean, they hadn't drank a ton that night, but any benzo mixed with alcohol is, I mean, that's deadly. You know,
they might have had
benzo.
a glass of wine maybe, and then you add the NyQuil on top of it, and then on top of that you add this. They're all messed up. They're gonna be like, I mean, any little sound, they're probably gonna think it's another person.
Well, also, like, if it seems complicated, all the things that happen to them, like the deprivation of their
Mhm.
like the fact that they're drugged, the fact that he made a recording, the fact that all of these things are happening in your mind, you're like, how many fucking people are these, right? Like, you're like, whoa.
Right.
But if I tell you that guy was a Marine and a Harvard grad and had time to premeditate it, you'd be like, oh
And
yeah,
brought in a
fucking
blow
wrote
up
it all
doll
down.
to pretend like there's another person there. I mean,
It's not like it's
But of
super
all
hard.
things, a blow up doll
no.
too. Couldn't have been a mannequin. It could have a blow up
Worked
doll.
great.
Blow up
It was
doll.
too heavy. Too heavy. You can't. Yeah. Probably thought about
Yeah.
that. So diazepam is used to treat anxiety, muscle spasms, alcohol withdrawal. The injection is formed to use prompt relief of desired when medication
it's an
cannot be taken by
injection.
mouth. It could be. Yeah, it could be a pill or an injection. It treats anxiety, alcohol withdrawal, acute repetitive seizures. It's like
I
Valium.
remembered it as a seizure
Mhm.
anticonvulsant as well,
Yeah.
because of my oldest daughter. I'm pretty sure they gave her that when she was little, which is
Oh shit! Did I lose I'm gonna take a look for diazepam and lost my video. There it is. So let's see if so this is the moment Denise Huskins realizes she was free after her kidnapping.
That you were safe. I heard him drive off. I slowly counted to 10. I peeled the tape off my eyes and I was by myself in this alley. I grabbed my bags and I started walking and I looked at the corner street name and I saw Utica, which is the street that I grew up on. I thought, oh my God.
She realizes that she's within walking distance of her mother's house in Huntington Beach.
You know, it's a street I've walked down hundreds of times in my life.
Just want to add that this is the same woman that was add color to what Sam said. This is the same woman that was denied when she was 12 any help because she was a liar. Once again, when she was in college, they told her no. And then now, for the third time, for the love of God, someone saved this woman.
right.
I mean, what are the chances you get struck by lightning 3 times? Are you kidding me? And you
It's so sad.
It blew my mind. And this is one of the ones that Allie and I watched this together. And
Mhm.
that's why it was on my mind. Back in January, we watched it. And we were like, I can't believe it was 3 people. I can't believe it was just 3 separate times that they told her no. They must have it
Yeah.
against her. And I was like, what the fuck? I mean, did like her dad kill a cop or something? Like, what the fuck's going on? You know what I mean?
Right. I know.
I didn't believe,
Um,
the fact that I didn't believe her, and
3 times.
I mean,
I mean,
what more does she have to? What more does she have to say for her to? And I think even after the story, they really didn't. Even, the sheriff didn't really even believe her. Still, right? If I'm
mhm.
not mistaken, like he was still like this. Still, after even receiving all the letters from the person who did it, they still didn't even
As I'm
believe her.
s-
Like,
no,
That's
they
correct.
didn't believe it until there was proof from the other cop in Dublin.
They're not
And
gonna believe her. They're gonna
honestly,
fight her all the way.
they weren't going to admit that they were
Yeah.
wrong. They were going to be
Right.
like, "Oh, we didn't have the right evidence then." No, she gave it to
She
them.
gave it to you. You didn't
Yeah,
look at it. You didn't want to look at it.
yeah, hers and Andrew's story. His first name is Andrew, correct? Andrew Quinn.
Andrew Quinn?
and
Okay.
yeah,
Okay, her now husband. Um, their stories were the same. They were asked them multiple times.
Yeah.
There was the lawyer that Andrew called. He had a second, and he goes, "Do you believe him?" And she goes, "Absolutely," because she questioned Andrew multiple times. And then she even spoke with Denise's lawyer, like, dude, what is going on? Why are they not doing, as they're defaming her and calling it a hoax, the lawyers are like, this is bullshit. We have got to do something. I don't know.
I felt like the lawyer was the only one there that, that
Both
you
lawyers were
feel,
good.
yeah, you feel like nobody's
Yeah.
on your side, obviously. And then could you imagine the trust issues that you have at that point? You're like, come on.
yeah.
I
Like,
wouldn't want to
no one's
tell
ever helped me.
anybody
Why would they ever
anything.
help me?
Yeah.
Why would they ever help
At
me?
that point, why would you want to call the cops for anything? I
Which
would
made
move out of
me
that town to go somewhere
right.
else.
Yeah, but that's not fair
And
either. So the cops get you, run you out of town. Like, you're from there. You grew up on Utica Street. Like, now the cops, like some kind of an armed gang, like,
Well, that was in
same
Huntington
thing.
Beach, actually. That was 400 miles away
Oh, right,
from
right. Sorry.
Vallejo.
Yeah, you're right.
So
Still,
they dropped her off at her family's home because the cop. But what Mueller said was that there was too many cops around. He had to take her further away. And I mean, I don't know. Yeah, there you go. That's what he sent to the
Mhm.
journalist. And the journalist did what they was supposed to do. He turned them straight into the cops, and they did nothing with them. Nothing.
That's
There
right.
was pictures of the gun, the toy gun with the strobe and the laser pointer. I mean, they did nothing when that. Sorry,
It really can't. Yeah, I get the same
I
way as you
might be
do.
a little bit fired up, but it's just
Really.
so goddamn frustrating.
This is one of the worst ones because it was like everything is working against you from the start. Since you were 12, things have been working
Yeah.
against you. And then when you finally need them as an adult, you're thinking, okay,
Well, one
those
of the
two,
things
those
they
were hoaxes.
interviewed her mom and dad, or her
Right.
mom, and they said sometimes women who have experienced SA like
Mhm.
to recreate it or fake
Mhm.
it as
Yeah.
to gain
Or-
arousal or to get
or-
excitement. Fuck
I
off.
promise
No,
you that is a man
no.
that came up with that theory.
That is
Promise you
absolutely
that.
a fucking man. I mean, don't get me wrong. Are there sometimes things
Sure.
that happen as a way of coping? Sure. Is that the norm? No, because
No.
anytime you relive or whatever, it is shame. It is
Horrific.
not trying to get
Traumatizing.
excited or
No.
bullshit.
And it's
Yeah.
When her mom
traumatizing.
was like, "Are you fucking kidding me? This is what you're saying to me?" No,
Not only that,
Yes.
is it traumatizing? Absolutely, it's traumatizing. Is it, not only she had to live it once, twice, but 3 times, and hoping that she would get some help, and not once. None of them did. They just shoved her to the. Do you think
So
that comes out of? Do you think that comes out of laziness from the police department? Do you think
no.
that comes out of?
I think what happened is they got a working theory that it was the boyfriend. They couldn't
Mhm.
really prove that because then she shows up. They thought she was fucking dead. They thought they had a slam dunk. He killed her because she caught him cheating.
Which is the best thing
or
for them because it's fast and that's good for them. And they
yes,
get like commended
and they
for
get
that.
this working theory, and then she shows up seemingly unharmed because she didn't have bruises.
Yeah. She doesn't wear her vagina outside
However,
her body. That's why. Right.
well, exactly so. And she didn't put up a fight during it because why? You've been told it's going to happen. You can either have it be horrific or more horrific.
Or
You
I'll
know what
come
I
back for
mean?
you.
You can make it worse on yourself by fighting. I mean, because at that point she couldn't have fought him off. You know what I mean? She was bound, and she couldn't see. She was
And
whatever,
you caught
and
in the same situation for the third time. Could you imagine what's going in your mind if this
she's like,
happened to you
"Fuck
twice?
this."
You're like, oh, I'm the SA girl. Like, what the fuck? There's a lot of people in California, dude. You know?
Right. So at this point, then she comes back and initially doesn't talk about the essay because she's afraid for her life.
Right.
And then they're like, well, fuck, it's not the boyfriend, and I don't
We
really
put all our eggs in
believe.
that basket. Our basket's
Right.
already full of the boyfriend.
So we've dug our heels into this. We've got to have some wrongdoing on their part because we don't
Right.
believe the whole home invasion thing because look, she looks so fine.
Mm-hmm. She's okay. Look, her
And
vagina
then
looks fine here, right?
they didn't even check it. They didn't want to
Mhm.
check it. They had no
Right.
intention of checking
Because
it.
if they check it, they're going to uncover that they fucked up.
Right.
They didn't do the right thing. They dismissed a person that was really hurt and needed their help.
They
And
needed
as soon as that happens, it's a shitstorm for them. Shitstorm.
and they needed to make it turn. They had the initial working theory, and it's more salacious to have it be like the movie Gone Girl than it is for
Mhm.
them to actually solve the goddamn crime.
I know. Add that to the media, right? So and then all of the things we're talking about, and then the media behind you, pushing the story along the way they want, independent of any evidence, and whatever gets clicks, and because is everything there's
Well,
money
even
behind
the reporter, he was the one who got those emails, and he's like, I have to send these to the police, and they did nothing.
No.
Sorry, I'll say that again. They did nothing.
And then you can't send it anywhere else. And then you can't send it anywhere else because it's out of their jurisdiction. So, like, I know you might want to think, like, well, there's somewhere you can send it. No, there really isn't.
No.
Even the FBI field office stuck here.
Now, do you think at this point, because all this happened, right? Do you think something should have happened to that police department? Do you think they should have?
Yes.
Do you
What do you
think?
think?
I personally think so. I
Yeah.
think something. I think some people should have lose their jobs. I mean, you didn't do what you were.
At the very
You
least.
you're very quick to point fingers, but
Mhm.
not do your job and actually invest because you're supposed to you're supposed to investigate. You're supposed to.
They failed her.
They
Thing is, they have
completely failed her 100%. Yeah.
3 different times.
Had they have gotten the calls when they Mueller called them or called Andrew, they could have pinpointed it within 200 feet of her actual location. And those calls came after the first essay, and they could have prevented the second.
The second one. Yeah. And that's a good segue. So why, and this was your question, Rose, why was Mueller so adamant that Denise be believed? Right? You asked that question. You were like, why? Why does that? I don't get it. He probably wanted to get caught. No, I don't think so. What it was is like, so the emails described the team experiencing a case of reverse Stockholm syndrome. Stockholm syndrome is when you get kidnapped and you start liking your kidnapper. That's called Stockholm syndrome. And when it's reverse, you can obviously imagine. So we are haunted by the grace and the fortitude Denise displayed throughout her ordeal, and by her expressions of concern for her family and patients while they were tied up and not let go to the next day. We would rather risk giving the police information that would lead to the catch of live in a world where two fine people like Denise and Aaron would suffer a horrible
Aaron,
crime.
not Andrew.
Yeah, I mean, Aaron.
Mm-hmm.
So
I've been saying his name wrong. Yeah, they felt bad that she was being. I think Mueller probably fell in love with her.
That's a good theory. Oh, I didn't think of that. Yeah, that's a
I
good
didn't
one.
even think about it. Yeah, it's a good one.
Because
Oh my God.
honestly, I mean, I
Yeah, you
think
treated her
that's
with a
why
lot of
the
respect.
second time he did, even though he essayed her, the second
Right.
time he goes, it needs to be, not look grapey. You know what I mean? It needs to not look like that. I think he actually, or at least in love with the idea of her, and because she
She wasn't even the person. She wasn't even the person. She was like a
No.
consolation prize. And the consolation prize ended up being a girl who's essayed twice before.
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know.
you would win the lottery if you fucking played these numbers. Are you kidding me?
I know.
It would have been.
Yeah.
But then the question goes now: how many people are out there that are afraid to tell a
Oh,
police officer? Do you know what I mean? How many victims are out there that now you hear this story and go, okay, she wasn't even helped. So I had, if it happens to you, why even go? Why even say
But-
anything?
but it could be because there's a huge swath of people that think the opposite. They can't do any wrong. So if you say anything against them, both things are wrong. They don't always fuck up, and they're not always against you, and they're not always trying to kill you, and they're not always the best of the best of the best, the most honorable people. It's impossible to say that.
But
So
when you hear a story like this, that she's
Uh-huh.
been a victim 3 times, right? And they haven't helped her.
Yeah.
And then
but it wasn't
something
3 times
happens
the
to you.
same day. It was like
Not in the same
12,
day.
and then, it's like
Yeah.
it's all
And-
that, which proves more that it's a long time. Like no one gives a fuck for a long time.
It is
Right.
I think it's very sad. I think a lot has happened between 2015 and now.
Mm.
As far as our awareness and I mean, the whole Me Too movement happened, and I'm not saying that it's good or bad, but people are at least taking
That's a good example.
that people are at least taking when a woman speaks up seriously, finally, and not all of them.
No, not anymore. Because now
But
the
not
people who are
anymore.
against that,
That's true,
and
but
say
they
like,
were
"Oh, this
for a
fucking
minute.
bullshit," just
Right.
for a couple months. But people will say like, "Oh, fucking Me Too's," it ruins everything because you're like, this actually happened to me, and then you like immediately take the stance of the other thing because like Me Too's bullshit and anything is
Well, the
bullshit.
thing is
like
well, you're right, and that's the scary thing. I mean, that's the tough thing because I think us as women, even if it's not full on graping, you know what I mean, we've
Yeah.
all experienced some SA or feeling uncomfortable or unsafe at some point in our lives. Usually, I mean, and it's always a constant thought of this could happen. I don't know.
and
I
then
mean,
let's say you're sensitive to that, right?
and then
like you're really
I
worried
say
about
it
it.
though.
then it
But then
depends
if
who.
somebody doesn't believe me
It's
or
polarized. Yeah.
now you're right, it is. But I think at least I'm hoping it's taken a little bit more seriously now. I mean,
By the
I don't
people that
know.
you would think, it's taken more
By the
seriously by the
people you
people
would think.
you would
Yeah.
want. The people
Yes.
who are against it will be like, no, the thin blue line, they have the flag and everything. It's like, no, cops are the fucking shit. There's honorable. Every single one has an oath and they've never done anything. And then it's two polarizing things. They're like, what are you talking about? Like they're people. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
people who take oaths break them constantly. And it depends on what your financial situation is, who's giving you what. Did you fuck up? Or so many things. It's impossible to quantize what you could, when you go up to a cop, is he going to be the guy that believes me, or that guy over there? That guy might be like, oh no, me too. That's all bullshit. Women like to mess it up, and then they finally got their day, and then and then a couple of women fucked it up for the other women that actually got SA'd, that maybe just wanted some notoriety,
Right.
like you
A
said,
couple of them
and
didn't yeah, couple,
just like the cops.
right.
Cops
And
are
that's
pissed because they think
true.
everybody's a bad cop. No, it's not. Just a couple of bad ones,
No.
just like me too.
That's just frustrating.
It is.
Very frustrating.
And then people are on each side, and they're unbudgeable.
And this is where it comes to when do you feel safe enough to speak up? Something happens to you, how safe do you feel?
It depends
to
who
speak
you
up?
are. Depends who you are, where you are.
But I mean, look at her. She spoke up 3 times, and look where it got her.
She was in the wrong place. She was apparently Vallejo is very.
And Vallejo is a nice area. It's not a bad area. And look at where it got her. We're not talking like, Compton or something. We're
in
talking
Compton,
about
this no guy in Compton is gonna be like, yo, dog, let's like make a video, like, and then put a thing on it, and then make them hear something, and then we're gonna make them think it's 2 people. That's not even. That's what I was saying before. It's like, give me your purse.
But I'm saying this is what I'm saying.
You know?
It happened in a nice area. This is not like your story. You would,
I mean,
you don't
fuck,
hear the
his
story in
hideaway
Compton.
place was in Lake
This is-
Tahoe, for Pete's sakes. I
this-
mean,
this
it's
is-
not like this was a blue collar crime. You know what I
Right.
mean, or whatever.
This
It was.
That's exactly where it happens in nice places, because those are people who have time. They're educated. That guy's a
He
Harvard
got
grad. Where do you think he lives?
disbarred. He got
Right.
disbarred and had time on his hands. It fucking sent him on a spiral. I mean, he had
Yep.
been peeping in windows in her neighborhood for at least a year prior to the home invasion.
Mm-hmm.
And the kids who caught, the teenagers he was staring at, they turned him in, they called the cops, and that they didn't do anything.
And then he knows about the law too. On top of everything, he knows about the law. So he knows how
Right.
to skirt it. He knows how to manipulate it. He knows what's taken seriously, what's not. So it kind of says more about people in law enforcement and people who are in the judicial system. They have
Mhm.
they have a better grasp on law than we do. So who would really think about it? Who would be the most ones to be able to break it? The ones who know the most about it.
Mhm.
We don't know anything about the law. Like, we just talked about it. We're like, I don't know what the law is. Okay. Well, how do you know what the law is when you walk into the precinct? They know the laws, and they know that you don't know the laws. What are they going to do?
Well, I mean, it's also, not all the time, but it can be
No,
used
right,
against you that you don't. You know what I mean?
right.
Again, we have to say this. It's not all
We're
the time,
generalizing.
but
We're generalizing.
in the times that a police officer doesn't handle a case correctly, or a lawyer or whatever, it's because they know their
Things that you
job
don't.
that well. They can take advantage of the lay person who doesn't.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
But who do we hate? Politicians, right?
Mm,
They're in parts.
yeah.
They're in places of power. What don't
Mhm.
we know about? We don't know the inner workings of the government. Why? Because it's all a big club, and nobody wants to leave, and there's no term limits, and we hate them, and we think we know what it goes on there, but we don't. And that's the mystery, and that's where there's conspiracy theories. Anything that's closed off and you're not welcome in it, and you need like a special thing to join our club, that is just a harbor for like, are you one of us? Are you, whatever goes down, boy? Are you one of us?
Right.
Not everybody. Not everybody.
So I think on that note, I think it's time for a shot because it's our regular.
Fucking upset, man. Fucking upset with this one. I was upset in January, and I'm upset again.
This one, literally, I was crying watching the story.
This had
It-
my head spinning. I'm not gonna lie.
I
It had
was
my head spinning. It had
yelling at the TV.
the only thing that I loved was the ending that they got married and they
I
now
love that she confronted him in court and said, "I am the person you did this to. You don't own that. I'm not going to,
Yeah.
I don't
Get her
remember
power
her
back.
exact words, but she got her power back, and that,
Try to
I
find it.
literally had tears watching that.
Yeah, that was impressive.
yeah. Cheers, everyone. Thank you for joining
Cheers.
us tonight.
Yes.
Cheers.
Cheers.
What are you drinking there? Dark and stormy?
I'm actually just drinking rum.
Hmm.
I didn't have time to actually make the dark and stormy, so I'm just
All good.
drinking
is the
straight
dark-
rum.
For our
It's-
listeners, the Dark and Stormy was supposed to be the drink we were supposed to have tonight as our cocktail, but we were all
Yeah.
running late, and Sam has been traveling all day, and AC's been working all day, and
Oh my
I've
god.
got mommy duties throughout the whole week because the kids are out of school, so we all been like in a big mush.
Right.
So what is
The
for
dark
all
and
those out there?
stormy is dark rum, so not even spiced rum, the dark
Ginger.
rum like Kraken, and then a ginger beer and a splash of lime. So
That
it's
was
pretty
the
delicious.
Dark and
I've
Stormy.
delicious.
had one of those. I had one of those when we went to Disney when Alex was there for nationals, and it was pretty darn good.
Nice.
Oh,
All
so
right, let's go through some of
mustard.
I
these.
paid way too much for it there, but
Here you go.
Let's go through some of these real quick. We've got of course AC's crush. AC
Hey, boo.
on his hot pancakes.
Hey, boo boo. I want them. Oh, I want chocolate.
Trumpet of trumpet of fire them great.
You're fired. Unless you
cheers.
can do something for me.
Cheers.
Cheers.
Yes,
Cheers,
cheers,
Jamie.
Jamie.
What are you
Yeah, she
drinking?
cheers us.
Let us know.
And
Oh,
still
nice.
waiting for Rose. Oh my gosh, I totally
Oh,
forgot.
you better
Oh
send
my god,
that.
I'm so sorry. Yes. Send me your, you know what? I'll send you a message. I won't say it. Well, I'll send you a message in the back end. I totally forgot about that. Yes, I will.
Yeah.
And if you guys have any stories that you guys want us to, deep dive into, or a highlight that you've come across, let us know. Send us a message on Instagram and we will answer and deep dive into it for you. We do our deep dives Monday nights at 7 p.m. and 9. No, or not.
No.
No, we do. our
Deep
dives
dives are
Friday
on
night.
Fridays.
I mean, deep dive.
News
Sorry,
stories.
highlights. Highlights on Mondays. Highlights are on Mondays, deep dives are on Friday.
I wasn't even
Yes.
looking at you. Were like, no. I was like,
Mm-mm.
we gotta go.
That
We got
doesn't
this.
sound right.
Yeah, we drop a shorter show on Monday that's pre-recorded, and we go over
Yes.
headlines of the week and possible like things that might be popping off, like really stupid, like really horrible things. Like Rose and I did one without Sam because he was sick, and we were talking about just like really heavy stuff that like kind of depresses us. That's why we drink during it. And but it's only an hour, so if you want to come and check out headlines and do that with us, and then Friday nights is our live stream for 2 hours, and then we really get to
Yes.
answer your stuff and really in real time kind of have a dynamic show. Mwah. You have a story?
Oh, awesome. Let us know. Let us know.
So Matt Mustard is the guy that I think we're talking about, right? So former Vallejo Police Union president lowered promotion standards to make sergeant. So Vallejo Police Sergeant Matt Mustard pushed for a very watered down version of the sergeant's exam. So like, this is another thing where I'm saying like, the sergeant will like lower the standards for the exam. I'm not saying everyone. Once again, in blue line, love cops, love military. There's bad people everywhere. They lower. In this case, he lowered the standards so he can become a sergeant, right? And then he can things like this. People who don't. In fact, if you're against DEI or if you're against like, putting people in places in positions that they haven't deserved just because they have the skin color or just because they have a particular affinity, whatever. This is perfect. This is your perfect example. You should hate this too. They lowered the standards. So a guy who wouldn't have normally passed the test is now the sergeant. He's making decisions. You guys know his fucking ass from his elbow because he didn't have to pass the same test as everybody else. So that's
I have
another.
no idea what he's doing.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he may, but like, did he pass the test? I don't know. That's the only way we can know. So it just makes me upset.
It's like giving someone who doesn't know how to drive a driver's license, and here you go.
Right. Because your mom works in the DMV. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Here you go. And now drive behind a car, and hopefully you don't hit anybody and kill anybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, you're not going to do that. Your mom works at the DMV. You can't get into an accident. Come on. So yeah, these
and
two
they're
here,
really cute, and they're a cute couple. They really are. And
this guy's really awesome, man. This guy's really awesome.
I'm happy that at the very end of this, they got married. They have, I believe, a child together now, or
Which
two.
is tough because you're going to tell me that 3 times my wife was essayed and then still have the balls to go through with it. There are people who would not do that.
Yeah.
There are people who
the
would be like,
fact
you know
that
what?
she let her guard down to get married to him because she the fact that she him, it was probably his first time that, going through this. But how do you, as a husband,
No, but knowing that twice before she's been touched by others, like, it gives us pause as a man who's trying to ultimately like marry a virginal wife, like everybody wants that, right? So she's so
that,
lucky.
I give him props on the fact that he's been there as her rock, because
that's what I'm saying. He's awesome.
He could have left, throughout the whole thing and said, "This is too much.
Too much.
We're only dating. We're not even, peace. See you later."
Yeah.
That he still stuck around, and they eventually got married. And they have, I want to say, 1 or 2 beautiful children, and so that was a good ending to her story. Do you know what I mean?
Do we know they're beautiful? People have ugly children.
They're beautiful. Let's
take a look at maybe. Is every child beautiful?
So beautiful.
Is every child beautiful?
Because they're all.
What if they're ugly?
Children.
You never seen an ugly kid?
I haven't came across one yet.
Come on now. Don't
haven't.
Do that to me.
I haven't came across one yet.
You're like, you don't get fail, bro. No way. Come on. I know you too well for that.
Haven't came across one yet. I think they're all beautiful.
Okay. Right. So, it's rough when you're confronted with certain truths about this, and you don't want to think like the cops can't help you. You don't ever want to think that. You don't think the cops are going to want to dismiss you.
You want to feel safe. You want to feel that you want to feel that you can actually go to an authority and say, "Hey," especially like when you're in school, you want to know that you can go to a teacher and say, "I need help," or "I'm going through something."
Mm-hmm.
So as an adult, you want to feel that I can go to a police officer and say, "I'm going through something. I need help." And you would hope or expect them to be there and
don't-
listen to you
I don't
and
think there's much anymore. Yeah. People,
you know.
and you know, that's what woke means. That's actually what woke means. Woke doesn't mean all the bullshit it means now. Woke is a term to explain, I know what you guys do behind the curtain. That's what woke is. You
Right.
guys fraternize, make sure that you guys have a story, and whatever happens to us out here, fuck us, right? Like, we're the enemy. That's what woke is. And if anybody asks me, can you define woke? I'd be like, yeah, I sure can. I've used it before it was a fucking, before it was a, you know, it's like, I used to say it all the time. I'm like, bro, stay woke. That just means like, watch these motherfuckers because they'll to try to get you.
Right.
It was hijacked, but whatever. That's what it meant. But like,
As is everything anymore.
systemic, and those people say systemic things, systemic racism, systemic. Yeah,
Mhm.
it's when everybody gets together in a system and discriminates against you, or doesn't believe you, or thinks you're, you know, you're black, you can't do that, or blah, whatever, what have you. But that's what it is, and it's really, some people, they're blinded, they just can't see that they would do that. Some people believe the government, hook, line, and sinker, whatever they do. Other people don't trust it at all. So even the good things that they do, they don't believe it. And those are the same people that are saying like, well, what was she wearing? I gotta say, well, what were you wearing? Did you like it? Did you like it? Oh, you must have been leading the man on, right?
Mhm.
What were you wearing? Were you showing him your vagina? You must have been dancing provocatively, weren't you?
Well, I mean, for Pete's sakes, in schools, I mean, girls can't wear spaghetti straps. Or I mean, I think they can now, but they didn't used to be
No,
able to. And
they still
my
can't.
both my daughters were like, "What is my shoulder too provocative? Or, you know, are you going to, you know, does that make you want to do something to me?"
And
I
usually the
mean,
people who levy those things, the people who levy
is
those things
yes.
are the people that are like, I'm afraid that I'm gonna be sexed out by that
That's
shoulder.
exactly
So
it.
you cover that up, okay? And
Mhm.
those are the people who are the most religious, the most pious, and the most like
I agree.
all the preachers that we talk about. Those are the people going,
It's
cover your shame, cover your shame. Why? Because
it's
you're gonna want to fucking fuck
frustrating.
my shame. That's why you're gonna want to do it. You know?
I
And
mean,
to
I'm
this
sorry.
to
day,
be
I mean,
fair, and I mean, I wouldn't do this, but honestly, to be fair, I could be butt ass naked, and a normal person wouldn't have the urge to forcibly make me do anything. I mean, to be fair, that's I mean that you know, if I was you know, just walking around not being sexual, that shouldn't be a thing. You know what I mean? Of
You
course,
existing is a sexual thing. You existing.
being a
We know
woman
you
is
have
a
a vagina
sexual
under
thing.
there. Well, I know it. I'm
Yes.
horny now because I know you have a vagina. That's so creepy.
Yeah, having a vagina or you know, being a woman is a sexual thing
Yeah. You're
to
an object,
deviant
first of all.
men.
You're an
Yeah.
object.
yeah,
I mean,
You're a breeder.
yeah.
You're a breeder. Yeah.
I mean,
That's where we're at.
this story makes you go like 1 to 100. Do you know what I mean? It's like
oh
I lost
yeah.
it. I'm
it
sorry.
goes
I
to
got a
1
little
to
loud.
100, and it makes you. Then you know you come back down, then all of a sudden it goes back up to 100, and then you come back. The story is just crazy, just because of the fact of what she went through, and the fact that she wasn't believed, and she
Right.
wasn't
I
doing
This
anything
might
One
happen a
wrong.
thing
lot.
I would love to ask her. She has 2 daughters now, and you guys were talking about
That's
that when I
two.
had
Yeah.
to step away. 2
Mhm.
daughters, and they're at the time of the documentary being shot, they were 4 and 1. And how afraid would she for me, I mean, I have 2 daughters, you have daughters, Rose,
Yeah.
but having that happen to her 3 times,
Right.
I mean, I don't know. I
And then
think as my mom of
I didn't think of that.
daughters, having that happen 3 times to me, I would never let
Oh,
those girls leave my sight.
I would never have
And
girls.
I'd be
well,
more
you
Right.
afraid
couldn't
of
help that.
what her
Yeah, I
parents.
know, but I'm saying like I wouldn't have kids. I like that point. I'm
Yeah.
like everything I
I'd be
do
more
is
afraid of what
Thank
my
cautious.
goodness.
husband would do than anything. I would
Well,
be definitely afraid of what my husband would do than anything. You know what I mean? Like,
meaning what they would do if that happened
yeah.
to them. Yeah. Well, no, I agree, but I mean, I'll tell you, Mama Bear and me, I would
Oh
hell
yeah.
hath no fury as anybody fucking with my
I mean,
kids.
sure.
I
Yeah,
mean,
But
even
I
then
now,
don't
you lose
think
your
I would
husband.
ever want to.
Then
even
your
now
husband's a
when
vigilante. And
I
then you
mean,
lose
even
him
now,
too.
like you travel,
Yeah.
Sam, and I
Mhm.
travel, you know, we both travel. Even now when I'm traveling through the airports or anything, I don't talk to anybody. I keep to myself. I'll sit at the very end of the bar. I don't talk to anybody. Like
Good.
everybody's, you know, I always
Yeah.
keep to myself. And then it's like, okay, I'll call the people wherever I'm going. I'll call my friends. I'll be like, hey, I'm here. You guys want to hang out for dinner? If they don't want to hang out for dinner, I don't leave my hotel room for nothing. I
Right.
stay there. It's just, it's just, I don't know.
Well,
It's just
one
one of those
And then
feelings.
and then remember when people were like, man, it's not, things aren't the way they used to be. You used to like walk down the street and you can say hi to everybody. You walk down the airport
Hmm.
and hi, howdy. I mean,
not really.
it's not. Yeah, well, maybe not where you live, but
I
like, she's
but
saying she doesn't
Yeah.
talk to anybody. Like
right,
that's
but
fucked up, isn't it?
right, but here's the thing.
People
50
used to meet
years
people.
ago, we'll just
People
say
used to.
50 years ago,
Mhm.
it was even if women
Well, I
probably
know, I
still
know what you're
felt
gonna say.
just as uncomfortable,
Yeah,
but
'cause you're your
didn't
husband's
feel
property.
comfortable enough to, I think I heard something somewhere. It was up until 1989 or 88, a woman had to have her husband sign off on her getting a loan.
Yeah, credit card.
Or or yeah, and
Well,
it was
on
well into the
anything.
70s. It was yeah,
Mhm.
so just because I'm a
When
woman, I have to have a man backing me. I
That's
mean,
right.
it's just
back
You work
when
what you do.
COVID happened, when COVID happened, I was having a procedure done. I had to have surgery. I couldn't have the surgery done unless my husband was present and he had to sign just like I had to sign. Otherwise, I wouldn't have my procedure unless he was present. He had to be present to be known. And I was looking at him like, wait a minute,
What if
this
you
is
weren't
my
married?
fucking body. We were married. We're
What if you
married.
weren't?
yeah, but
Uh,
that's just
I
still,
don't
I
know.
mean,
You die. You die.
Yeah, I don't know at that point, but I know it when I
Wow,
had my procedure, he had to be present. He
that's
had to
crazy.
sign off, and I had to sign off and be like, okay, he's aware. Go ahead. He
wow.
knows what, and and this was only back in
Well,
COVID.
it used to be because the men were the homeowners. So the men, like, if you did that, if you came forward, let's say you were married back in the day when Sam was saying that, and you came forward and you said that, it was almost like a Me Too thing. You would ruin your husband. You
Mhm.
would ruin him. His name was ruined. He had no no money. No one would hire him. Like, he's a pariah. So you had to take that in, do what you had to do, swallow it, however he treated you, plus however they treated you out there, and take care of the kids and make the fucking roast and all of those things. Like, wow, wow.
Well,
Because now you're afraid to ruin your own family because you had the misfortune of getting essayed.
well, and it's interesting to me. My mom, kind of going back to like up till 1990 or 1988, a woman had to have a husband sign on a loan or to own a business. They had to be second there. My mom opened a business in '89, and I was like, you know what I mean? Granted, it was absolutely her business. It was absolutely, she ran it. She ran into a ton of shit with the airport authority because she was a woman and they were a boys club. I mean, she fought tooth and nail. One thing I love about my dad was like, nope, you've got this. And he didn't go in and save her from the boys club, meaning she went and fought for her own battles.
Yeah,
But
daddy
I
didn't come
mean,
to the rescue.
well, which was good. He trusted that
Yeah,
he trusted her, not trusted, but knew that she knew what she was doing and didn't have to be, he was never that misogynist where, you're a woman, you should stay here or whatever. But I mean, I didn't even realize it until, I don't know, a few months ago that was an actual thing and how awesome it was that, a woman owned a business and, did those things, without her husband, being the front man because he
right.
had to be, it's
In the
just,
late 1600s, there was something called the Salem witch trials.
yeah.
And the Salem witch trials, if you were a single woman, let's say you were married, let's say you're single. If you're single and the church thought, because everything was run by the church, if the church thought that you were doing something wrong and you were single, you are a witch and they burn you.
Mhm.
Okay.
Oh yeah, like
If
the Scarlet's, what was it, Scarlet Cider or something like
Right.
that?
Yeah, kind of. But this is the Salem witch trials. Like, there were no
Yeah.
witches, right?
No.
There's a bunch of Puritans, people who are very, very religious, and they would say, you are a witch because you put an ointment that was not sanctioned by the church, and then you made that. You must be a witch making potions. And then if you were married and your husband dies, they knew you had representation at one point, but like, if you wanted to do
Well,
anything, like go to court, buy something,
what
you
did
had
you
to.
do to him? Also.
Exactly. You killed him, witch. When you're yeah, of course. Yeah. It's crazy. And then we just take you from your house. We've come a long way, but like, do you see the lineage of it? Like, all the way to this, to the suffragettes, to everything else. I feel for women, dude. Like they just wanted to
But
join the
it
workforce.
wasn't exactly always that way. I mean, I mean, okay, this is probably going down too much of a rabbit hole, but um, back in the day, priests in the Catholic Church were allowed to marry.
Yes.
And they were allowed to marry, but what had happened, it was more of a being a priest was a position of power.
Mhm.
It was not just a religious, I'm giving my life to God. They were like politicians. They
They get married.
ran everything and they got married, but it was the women running the scenes from behind the man.
Mhm.
And that's when they outlawed being married because they were corrupting their leaders because the women were running things. I mean, so it kind of
Okay.
was, but it was the
You're right about
women.
that.
Yeah. And
Just like the couple cops,
they're
like everything has a little
right.
bit of everything in it. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the reason, I mean, it's just insane on how that was. It's not, I mean, they say, they're married to God or whatever, and that's why they don't take a spouse. Bullshit. That's not why. They were tired of, not being able to, do what they wanted, and they said, "Fuck you." It
Fuck this
became
shit.
a he-man woman
Celib-
hater.
I'd rather be celibate than you tell me what to do, woman. I'd rather be celibate,
Exactly.
Yeah.
or
Exactly.
figure it out some other way with a small person.
I mean, I don't know.
It's
What did
disgusting.
Gosh Dad say here? They would have a favor returned by a zebra. Oh my goodness.
Mhm. Zebra don't get
Good Lord.
zebra don't get
Very well. Oh, jeez.
Jeez Louise.
very well endowed. Very well endowed zebra donkey.
Do you have, or were you able to find her talking about when she took the power back? I think that would be something that
You want to see
people
her
would want
final
to
scene?
see. Yeah. Would
Yeah.
that be okay? Okay.
Yeah, I can look for it while you guys talk about it. Yep.
Yeah. Usually I'm able to kind of search things up and share myself, but because
Okay.
I'm literally sitting with my laptop on pillows and every time I move, it's like shaky. So
I can't believe I blanked on this woman's name. I can't believe
What?
Denise
Denise
Huskins.
Huskins.
We can
Jesus.
do another shot too while he looks for that.
Oh yeah.
for it.
I got some more
Come
rum when
on.
I was using the
You got
facilities.
for 30 seconds.
We can do a shot.
Yeah,
Um,
do it.
I thought it was very sweet on how when she came back, we'll do this shot real quick.
Yes. Cheers, everyone.
Cheers.
Cheers.
When they finally got to see each other, careful, wrong pipe. When they finally got to
Better
see
bring
each
us some
other,
fucking water.
she had said something to him like like I understand that she did feel that why would he want her now that that had happened to her. And he goes, "Honey, that's," you know what I mean? He was so sweet and was like, "That will never make me think anything different of you. That was not you." You know what I mean? And also, she also felt that she was hoping that he didn't want to just stay with her because of this thing happening. But I do think their trauma brought them closer. But I think I mean, he had told her he loved her that night that she got kidnapped, and I thought that was, and they had kind of come to a
Worst
I
luck
don't know.
ever. Worst luck ever.
Yeah.
Essayed. Couple times. Nobody believes you 3
But she
times,
felt
and
so much
then
shame, and you would, but she was like, "I
and the boy
understand
loves
if you
you.
think I'm soiled," and he goes, "That's not at
Right.
all what
That
I
was my
think."
point. Mhm.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what it's so hard. After the first one and the second one. The second one, you're a
Yeah.
baby first, but the second one, you're like, I'm soiled. I'm like, I'm unclean, And
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. Like, people have this virginal thing about them, like finding like the perfect wife. She would be tossed aside. Even she's a beautiful woman, she's would be tossed aside because of that. And then the third thing is like an X on her back. You're like, don't fuck with this chick.
It is like the Scarlet Letter in a
Yeah,
way, in
Yeah.
her eyes especially.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
Absolutely. And the fact that he's still, like I said, I really, this is a true one of those stories where you know what, this is a true, like a really good man that you have, because he's willing to stick through all the fucking bullshit that they just went through. Do you know what I
well, I
mean?
mean, he
Like,
put her through some
as
bullshit too. He was emotionally cheating with his ex, who was the initial target. I mean, in her mind, she had to go, "Are you fucking kidding me? This now too? This fucking bitch." I mean,
Guys,
that whole
I just want to
time
say
I would
something
have
real
been
quick.
thinking that.
When you put in American Nightmare into YouTube, we're the 3rd video in.
Nice.
Yeah.
nice.
Yep.
Fuck
That is
yeah. That's
awesome.
exciting.
That is
Mhm.
awesome. And to let everybody
Thank
know,
you all
if you
for
are listening to any of our platforms, please come over and click on our channels, hit the likes and subscribe and share. We would really appreciate it.
yeah, we've got people listening upstairs.
So yes,
So,
and so thank you so much for everybody that has been through our journey on this with us, and we've we love it. We love doing this stuff and bringing you guys stories. So if you guys have stories to share, let us know. We'll do a deep dive on the story you want us to do.
So
yeah,
I
absolutely.
can't really find that one because that's a very
Okay.
specific thing. I should
Yeah,
have thought of that, but I do have something
I'm
here.
sorry.
It's all, no, it's all good. We have some.
I don't know how to describe what it's like to sit back silently and watch the world have a conversation on the most horrific thing that you've lived through.
For Denise Huskins, everything changed one fateful night.
I remember thinking, like, God, this is a really bad nightmare.
It's one that still haunts her today. 3 years ago, she was dragged from her boyfriend Aaron Quinn's bed in the dead of the night, drugged, kidnapped, and raped. She then mysteriously reappeared 2 days later, about 400 miles away in Southern California. Aaron had gone to the police, pleading for them to investigate.
Everything was accusatory, and fairly quickly the detective said, "I don't believe you."
Our investigation has concluded that none of the claims has been substantiated.
The Vallejo County
Frustrating.
Police publicly declared.
Who's this guy?
That's the fucking mouthpiece of the chief who
That's not Matt Mustard, right?
No, he was the guy who the police chief said, I want to burn this bitch or go burn this bitch.
Got it.
And that was that press conference.
Okay, so I have a question. Do you think, like, I know in the beginning of the story, when things started twisting and stuff, I was thinking at first maybe the boyfriend hired him to take out the ex, right? Because remember that story came out where he was with the ex and cheating and all that. Do you think that, in the beginning of the story, do you think he had some type of involvement with this gentleman in the beginning? If you
No.
didn't know what you know now, right? What you know now from the beginning of it, if you just saw the beginning of it, do you think he had some type of involvement in it?
I didn't actually. And honestly, that's odd between you and I. I think you did at first, Rose, and then I would, usually I'm the more cynical one of the two of us.
Yeah.
Yeah. This time I was like,
yeah.
And I don't mean to be, but that's kind of our dynamic. I'm usually the more cynical one between us. AC's the devil's advocate, and Rose is usually the one that sees the
like,
good in everyone. Yeah.
But what if everything's that's not the way
What
things
if
work?
everything's fine?
Mhm,
Yeah.
mhm.
But in this instance, for some reason, I did not get that feeling that he was at any way involved. He just seemed so forthcoming and distraught on what had happened.
so I
I
want to
don't
know
know.
why the ex? Why go after the ex and not this one and make a mistake?
She wasn't there anymore.
I
He
think
didn't-
here's
he
what
didn't
I
take over his
think.
life.
I think because he had said that the ex hadn't been there since September. So and this just came to me. So if you remember, Mueller
Mhm.
had been deemed a peeping Tom back in
He was living in
2014
yep. Teenage girl.
in that same neighborhood. I think he had seen Andrea, probably caught her name. I mean, he was an upstanding looking guy that probably could have talked to her in passing. I think he was planning it and didn't realize she moved out. And he really probably had her. Let's be real, Andrea and Denise didn't look all that dissimilar. They're very, Aaron had a type. So
Blonde.
I think Mueller had a
Deep.
type too. You know what I mean? Well, maybe he didn't, but I think he
I
had
like what you
scoped
like.
her out and was planning and plotting, and he knew that Aaron had money enough to pay for ransom.
That's the
He
other thing.
didn't, and probably that night he couldn't tell from the window if it was Andrea or Denise because
So are
they
you
are
saying
very
that
similar.
Are you saying that he didn't make the decision of like, oh, Andrew, now here, let me just take this chick, right? Are you saying that was more premeditated?
No. I think he thought. I think he was stalking the house and her in 2014 when he was on that island peeping in everybody's windows. He
Mhm.
hadn't come back yet until March. He was plotting and planning to take her
The
all those
original girlfriend.
months. Yes, all those months up until then. And then looking into the home, he probably wouldn't have known if it was her or not because they look very similar. He comes in and went, "Oh shit, it's not you. Whatever, you look the same. I'll take you too.
Yeah,
I'll take you
you're a what?
instead."
They'll pay money for a white girl. Come on.
Well, that's what
Mhm.
I'm saying. I think again, this is just my theory. Make
But
your
That
you
makes
own.
sense.
do you think
But
but do you think as a peeping
deductive
Tom,
reasoning, I think he saw her and devised a plan to, you
but
know,
as a robber or any type of they kind of stake out, they watch what comes in, what goes out. If you've been gone for so long, he was gone for a while. Um, anything could have happened. They could have put security cameras, they could have moved, anything could have happened. I mean, they could have sold a house and moved
well,
and
he
him not
also
know.
had recently lost his job and been disbarred from the bar.
He had a
Maybe he
break.
spiraled and went, "Oh, I know where to go." You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I
Right,
know where
but
there's a blondie.
but any criminal kind of sits there and stakes out the place and just watches
Well, I think he
for a little
had,
bit.
but, I think honestly, if he wasn't all that close, he probably had met Andrea in passing one time. He probably positioned himself to bump into her and say, "Oh, I'm your neighbor, such and such." Probably made up a name. Again, this is me making everything up, but this is what I
Sure.
think could have happened. It's plausible. You know what I mean? But again,
I'm
they
just
look very similar. They have blonde hair. He could have gone back to stalk the house and he sees this woman there again.
Blonde hair
Well,
girl inside
maybe
the house.
he's
Yeah.
yeah, a blonde girl inside the house. Maybe he's far away now, but he sees a blonde girl continuously being in this home. Oh, it's got to be Andrea. I fell in love with her when I bumped into her that day, or when I was looking in their windows when they were fucking. I don't know what he was thinking, but only he does. But that's kind of where
It's
I
hard to
think
just
it
climb in
could
there.
have gone wrong.
It's hard
Yeah,
to climb in there. By the time you're
yeah.
doing things like this, like had several breaks where you're rationalizing how it's okay to do this and how this
Oh,
needs to
he
be done.
probably had it in his head that she loved him and he was saving her from him. But even if, you know what I mean? Again, I don't know. This is me making
That's what
stuff
girls
up,
love, by
but
the way. Girls love to be
no,
saved.
it we don't.
I know,
We don't.
I'm just
bro.
thinking
All you
as a criminal, I'm putting myself in a position as a
there you
criminal.
go.
He's also
You're gonna sit and you're gonna stake the place, right? Unless somebody
A
gives you
sane
some
criminal.
type of intel of, because what if there's now there's cameras. Now you gotta make sure there's not a cameras. Like, I mean, now at this point, at that time that this happened, 2015, there were ring cameras, there was
Oh yeah,
cameras across the street, there was
they
all
weren't
this
all
stuff.
that
So now
prevalent as they are today, though. I mean,
it was less, but it was still a thing.
yeah.
so now as a criminal, you start thinking it's like anybody who, they go rob anything. They start looking at it, it's like, okay, there's a camera
I
on the
think you,
left, camera on the
I think
right.
you're thinking about. I think you're thinking about sane people. People who are like you and
Well,
I,
right. So he
or
had
criminals.
major depressions with signs of
Right.
mania. He was diagnosed with bipolar in 2008. I mean, so this man was not completely he
But
didn't plead insanity, but
he was good
he
enough to
was
do the things he did, which is
right.
weird. Mhm.
No, what I mean is I don't think I think that he used a pretend gun. He used psychological tactics to get to his victims, the flashing lights to
I'll be back.
disorient. I think he went to plot and plan that disorientation and how do I get in there? It's just me and he's there. Again, I don't think and I think once he decided it was that I can't say rage, but that blindness. He had like those
Yeah,
blinders on of this is the
yeah.
day I'm going to do it. I've planned it. I'm
Come
going to
hell or high
go in.
water. And he didn't
Yeah.
really plan it. Like he did, like Rose said, like he didn't really look at like positioning the
No,
cameras. He looked
but
at other
he
things that was
planned
important to him.
his methods
Right.
of
He's a
doing
narcissist
it.
as well. Exactly. His stuff.
Yes.
Right. He
because I
didn't
His
mean,
look
what
at
if
the externals.
methods. What is
this could have
going to
gone
benefit him?
this could have gone 100% the other way? Because if she would have had children, what if they would have been a whole other family? What if it would have been a cop's house, or and you didn't take that proper, like, so a lot of questions I mean, I'd like to
I mean,
know.
there's a lot of what ifs, but I mean, the fact of the matter is
We'll never know it. We'll never know those things.
this is what happened. What if we don't know what would have happened? I mean, what
I
if she
wish it
would
was
have
a
been
guy.
what if she would have been one of the ones that he was like, "Oh, sorry, I can't do this to you."
Right.
Thank God, but
I'm
she
just wondering
wasn't
if
the
there's
lucky
someone
ones,
else.
you
I'm
know?
wondering if there's someone else, because potentially it was supposed to be for the ex. I'm just wondering if there's someone else involved that hasn't came out to light, and maybe it will in the future, where it's
He claims
pinpointing.
to have acted alone.
And again, going
But
back to
who
the
knows?
cops, they're not going to reopen a case to investigate themselves. So if it's already set,
Yeah.
like unless
He-
somebody from the outside, like a lawyer's hired by like somebody else, that's when like you can rehash stuff. But like they're never going to investigate themselves to see if they relitigated and fucked up. Like it's a
And
club.
initially, I thought, oh, they didn't want to open it. They got one guy. It's, they at least have a win with this guy who admittedly, or, they could trace to the scene and
Right.
corroborates her story. However, when they showed the again, I said this earlier, the blow up doll in that was in the trunk of the Mustang, I thought, well, maybe. I mean, he's not a dumb guy. Maybe it was just the blow up doll. Maybe he was smart enough to have that, disorientation where they thought it was more than one person. I don't know. But I'm not a cop and I didn't investigate it. So
You're fired. You're fired.
It's just sad that she. It's sad that she, unfortunately, went through all this.
Yeah,
It's a
3
very
times.
sad story. Not once, not twice, but 3 times,
I've
and
never heard of
nobody
that.
believed her story, and that is a sad, sad
Well,
situation.
now it's a federal phenomenon where it's national news. The one good thing that came out of it was people got woke, not the bad woke, the woke against systemic shit. So
Yes.
people now are like, wait a minute. So somebody can be in a neighborhood their whole lives, be raped as a baby, raped as a adolescent, and then later on when you grow up, they're still not gonna like what is going on. So there's eyes
Right.
on Vallejo. Now there's eyes. The worst thing that could have happened to this department is that people knew that there was systemic overtime fuck ups, not just once. That's kind of like a okay, fuck, oh, that's really bad. But like
Mhm.
over time, the same person, there's nothing better for her than obviously putting it out. No, it shouldn't have happened, but now Ferguson, right? Ferguson, the police, the
Yeah.
bunch of racists in Missouri, bunch of racist guys got everybody knows who Ferguson is. So now they know, like, oh, there might be some racist cops in
I thought that was
Missouri. Okay.
Minnesota. I thought Ferguson was Minnesota. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm right.
Okay. Ferguson cops.
It's
You
just
guys keep going. I mean, wait for me.
Oh, sorry.
sorry, I was like
I
reading.
was
I was
trying
trying
to
to read the
Google it
highlight.
too.
I was trying to
I
read
thought
the
that was
highlighted on this
Minnesota.
thing.
I'm
What happened to
pretty sure
Ferguson?
it was.
Michael
Minneapolis.
Brown, unarmed Mac, St. Louis County. St. Louis County.
Hmm.
I think
yeah,
you're thinking about Kyle Rittenhouse. That was Minnesota.
No, I could be wrong. I thought it was Minnesota though. My fault.
It's all good. So don't whatever. The
It-
point is,
it's some-
spotlights are now being
St.
shown.
Louis County, Minnesota is what it was.
Oh, really? Oh, is that what?
Yeah.
It was? Okay, then you're right. Okay, my bad. That was me. Sorry.
there's one-
I saw St. Louis
it's
County.
like
As good as Wordham was.
Yeah, I
I've never
know.
been there.
I get it. St. Louis, we
I've never been
automatically
there.
think of.
this guy looks creepy even from his pictures. I'm not gonna lie.
But not
like,
if he was
just
not.
looks-
But not if he was a Marine or dressed in a suit.
I'm
going to
sorry, but he
Harvard.
looks creepy. He just looks
His
creepy. It's just-
his eyes do give off serial killer vibes.
yeah, his eye, just his.
And
mean these eyes?
if he was in a suit or a marine garb, I still probably would have been creeped out.
Yeah,
My spidey senses or woman senses of being, in
There
a
you go.
situation where I could be
I would probably move to the other side of the
assaulted.
room.
But
Yeah,
your guard goes down, goes down a little bit when you see like a Marine or like somebody who's in the military. You're like,
not
okay,
necessarily.
no,
Not
okay,
no,
cool,
no, not
awesome.
necessarily.
I agree.
Not necessarily.
Nowadays,
get a lot of
especially
benefit of the doubt.
nowadays, you've got there's so many stories. Especially we come across so many stories that we do. It doesn't matter who it is now. Your guard is up, and
Excellent.
when you have that feeling, I'd move to the other side of the room.
Good.
And if you've been in that position before, or I mean, like I said, I don't know any woman who hasn't had something to say. something that has happened, whether it be full on or, down the road, along the line of that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And once
absolutely.
it's happened and once you've been around people like that, you start to recognize it.
Beady eyes.
You
Imagine
it,
how
it
many people who are on the other side who say like, "Oh no, everyone who wears a uniform, cop, military, anybody, those people are saints, obviously, right?" And
okay,
then imagine how many of those people said like, "Thank you for your service," like after he did so many horrible things, just because they know he's a Marine or they find out, lots of people just are blinded by it. You guys, thank
right.
God, that's great. Don't trust anybody. Get to know the person. But like a uniform? Are you kidding me?
Well,
Girls go nuts for a guy in uniform and
and
just automatically think
any
it's fine.
any person of the male persuasion, and I automatically, again, it kind of harkens back to that. There's automatically that heightened sense of, can I trust you, or do I feel like I could be, in danger somehow? And
Take a bear.
again, it's not always going to be that way, but
Mhm.
you can get a feel, don't you think, Rose? Oh,
I
where'd
don't
Rose
hear. We
go?
don't hear you.
Rose, you're muted.
Yeah, I guess it'd be great if I unmuted myself there.
It happens. We're
It
live.
happens on here. It's
Sorry,
live,
it was St. Louis County, Minnesota.
Um, you get that feeling, especially like, even with people you associate, even if, there's, like the same thing as I call friends, I also call acquaintances, because you know who your friends are, you know who your acquaintances are. You also know
Mhm.
who, sometimes you might slip the crack and one might go through, and later on, eventually you find out. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Eventually you're gonna find out who that person is. The true colors always come out at the end. Always.
True.
Um,
Alex
and
is kind of coming upon this a little bit. She has had a few boys that she thought were just friends, that when relationships break up have come out of the woodwork and profess
Yeah.
their love. She goes, I thought we were just friends. It was platonic. I said, honey,
No.
no. Especially if
That's my best friend
they're,
is a boy. I'm like, uh-huh.
I'm
Yeah.
like,
was
so yeah, exactly. I mean, it's hard. I mean, I can't say every but
You guys are my friends. That's because we're all married.
well,
Like
right, that's
that's the only
exactly it.
really way it could be.
but
That's exactly
even
it.
but you know what? Our friendship is actually more than a friendship. We're more family. We've gone through a lot. We've known each other through a lot, and we've opened up a lot.
Would your husband
You
want
know,
me, a single guy, to come over and be your best friend?
he would be okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
No, my
he's
husband would not.
Yeah, my wife would no. It'd be like, what you
now
hanging out
now
for?
me. On the other hand, if you reverse that, that would be a whole. I would be like,
Wow.
no,
So yes,
yeah,
that's what I'm
no,
saying.
no.
Well,
But
and that's
on
the
his
thing. I
side,
mean, now, I mean, if you took it as now, let's just say something happened to one of our marriages, which will never happen. Now one of us is single. We'll still stay friends, but there wasn't. You didn't come into being friends at. Again, a lot of men come into
Men,
being friends with women, and not all, but come into friends with being women with an ulterior motive.
of course.
There's an
I'll wait.
attraction. There's a
I'll wait for that to go away.
right.
And then
They'll take the friend zone for a minute sometimes,
Mhm.
not all.
Yep.
But, and I told Alex, I said, "Honey, you're friend zoning them all, but they're waiting for their chance and they think, "Oh, once the window opens up,
That's
I'm
sad.
first in line." And
That's
she
really
goes,
sad.
"Oh." And
When they don't know that and they think they're friend, they're like, dude.
well, Alex, I mean, she's
yeah.
so naive and so young, and I felt that. It took me no, not didn't take me all that long to figure it out, but you know what I mean. It broke my heart when I was like, oh wait, I can't take what people are saying to me
People don't
at
really
face
like her.
value.
Yeah.
No, not even that. I mean, you're lying to me. This is a guise. This is bullshit.
But
I felt
Oh yeah.
betrayed.
like,
I think for
like,
the first time I
friends
learned.
like me for me. Like you're my friend because I like you for you, not because of anything you can
Right.
give me, right? But like,
Exactly.
but when you
And you
find that out
learn,
and you're like, oh, you just
especially
wanted it for
All you
this,
want is this? Yeah, it's so, and she's still
well,
not quite there, but she'll get there.
Sorry, Rose, go ahead.
especially at us at an older age that we are, you learn that either through your divorce,
Mhm.
those people weren't your friends, because then you realize, oh shit, they're talking shit about me, but I thought we were friends. I thought
Right.
we were
It goes
buddies, but
aside. Yeah.
they start choosing
Right,
sides, which
right.
realistically, it's like, you know what, you don't have to choose sides. You could be platonic, move yourself out of the equation and be like, this is between them. They're splitting up. I don't care. You know, at the end of the day,
Right.
I knew them together as a couple. Now they're not together, but they haven't done nothing wrong. Do you know what I mean?
Okay,
But that's when
so
you
now
start
the new guy
realizing.
comes in. You have a girlfriend or like a boyfriend, and you're friends with the guy, and then but he gets a divorce, and then a new woman comes in, and she's like, "You have a best friend that's a girl?" I don't think so. You know what I mean? Like what are you gonna
That
do?
comes
Go to
up
happy hour?
but
Happy
that
hour with your
comes
friend?
to but then that comes up to you to say, "Hey, you know what? This is why I'm dating you. If I wanted to be with her, I'd be dating her."
Yeah, but no, because
You know what I mean? Like I'd
Mm.
if I want if I really, you know, if I really looked at my
I
friend,
think
I'd be like, I'd be dating my friend. Why would I be here with you
but
having
guys
dinner?
tell themselves like she doesn't like me now, but she'll like me then.
that's again,
That's what guys
Rose, I
think.
think it's different. A woman, for the most part, can go, I'm your friend.
You
And
already know who you're gonna have sex with when you
and
meet them, right? Right, Sam? Like, you know what I'm
for
saying?
the most
So
part,
like,
yeah.
so
I
like,
mean,
so you make that
sometimes
decision, so
people
you're fine
can
with that. Us, we're
yeah,
like, we'll just wait in the wings until she's ready to fuck. It's horrible.
I
it's
don't know.
it's
I
tough.
don't look at it that way. I look at it as like, you know what? We're friends
Okay.
and
So
that's how it's
again,
gonna
us
be.
as women look at men and go, I can just be your friend. I don't want anything else out of you."
And we'll
Most
lie.
men,
We will
yeah,
lie.
lie.
Be next
See,
to
he's
you
saying it.
until
Yeah, until the right time, until you can take your shot, and you'll take anything. So yeah,
what do
I
you guys
mean,
do? You need a shoulder, right? Where's the shoulder? Here, I got one.
yeah,
And then you're
I'll
doing
hug
this, and you're
you.
like,
We can
be
cuddle
better.
if yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then at one point, I'm gonna take my shot, and I literally, again, I was naive. I had a friend that I used to work with, and we were great work friends. I would have called him my work husband, but there was nothing. I didn't flirt. I was nice. You know, it was just, you're my buddy. We talk. I had broken up with a guy, and I was like, yeah, I'm probably not going to date for a while. And then I did start. I found somebody that I liked, and I started dating him. The guy got so fucking mad at me. And I said, "Are you fucking kidding me? I thought we were just friends." "But you said, and why not me?" And I was like, "Well, you can lose my number then, because I thought we were on a level." And that was probably the last time I ever thought that a guy could be a friend, unless,
They
again, the
could, but they have to show
situation
you so much, right? Like they have to show you like that they're there for a
without
different
an
reason.
ulterior motive. Yes,
It's really hard.
exactly.
It's really hard to see that because I could just lie to you. I can just say like, "Oh no, I'm fine," and then what you think in your heart is like, "Well, I'm the first guy. I'm the first." She chose me to be her friend above all other guys, so like I have a leg
Right.
up. So as soon as she
Mhm.
comes, she realizes that loser is going to leave her or whatever. Then I
But
should be first in
in
line.
reality, if I'm choosing you to just be a friend, that's all I
That's right.
want.
That's right.
Because I do not see you in any other way.
Women are different.
Yeah.
We're willing to
Yeah.
lie and wait and cheat and steal and like just whatever it takes for us to like. And then and that's why they come out of the woodworks. They look on Facebook and they're
Mhm.
like, "Oh my god, is it single now? Whoa, I'll be right
Oh,
back."
dude,
You know,
that is the roughest.
it sucks.
Fuck,
I hate that I know that.
they come out of the woodworks. Woodworks, that's not plural. But you know what I mean? They come out of the woodwork and you're like, "What the fuck? Who are you?" And I haven't talked to you in years, and now you're like, "Hey, babe, let's go on a date." And you're like, "Who the what made you
They
think
say
I
don't go on
How
a
wanted
are
date.
you?"
Like,
you?
Yeah.
do you need a shoulder to cry on? Let's go get a happy hour or something, and so you
Yeah,
can tell
it's
me all about it. And
fine.
then they seem like more of a friend, and then they get you drunk,
Mhm.
and then
And
they try their
then
best friend,
and then then they try
Mm.
to SA because
and then they don't believe you, and then bum bum bum, you're on the Roses
yeah,
of
And it
Red
and
just
then it's all
podcast. Yeah.
fucked
and it
up.
just goes down a roller coaster and you're just
Yeah,
down the hill. It's just down the hill from here.
So fucked.
down the hill
So
from
fucked.
here.
So we are coming up to our 10 minutes till the end of our 2-hour mark here. Um, is there anything you guys want to say towards the end of the story?
I want to give a big props to Misty. I don't remember her last name, the detective in Dublin that wouldn't give up, and she continued to call Vallejo Police Department until she got somebody on the phone. And honestly, she, after some time, reached out to Denise and Aaron, and they've met up, and they're buddies, they're friends now. And Denise was so happy that she had somebody who
Someone.
believed and fought for her.
She was so sincere on
So
the show too. She was like
finally,
the one
I could
beacon.
have a hero. Yeah,
Yeah.
finally I have a hero in the police department. and it's this woman. And the reason Misty got into being a detective in what she was doing is because she had a friend who was not believed and she needed a voice. So, I mean, we can all do things like this, but I mean, she was the hero of this story.
But explain why. But explain why it's so hard. She's in such a hard position. She's going against the entire
the boys
department.
club. She's going
And
against the
then
boys
guess
club.
what? And then when people like this
The
help a person like
fraternity,
that, they
yes.
say this is why we shouldn't fucking hire women, bro, because they're not a part of the crew, right?
Well, right. Honestly, as I listened to her talk, she reminded her mannerisms and her intonation sound a little bit like Rose to me when she speaks.
Really?
I was watching it or not watching it and just listening to it. I was like, wait, who is that? So I mean, it was I don't know. It's kind of interesting to hear that and go, oh, that reminds me of Rose. But I was just so proud of her in standing up and not giving up. You know, she said in the documentary, she's like, yeah, I'm like that ex-girlfriend who never goes away because she didn't give up. She could have easily said, well, they're not answering,
I
but
want my
she
job,
didn't.
bro. Like, yeah. Probably
When
people
she
made her
knew,
life a living
yeah,
hell.
yeah. I mean, she was amazing, and I love that they're friends and they've, hung out and whatever. And I'm just so very proud of her for sticking up for what she believed in. That's my
So
final
to end up
thought.
also Mueller
Hmm.
got 40 years. I don't think we mentioned that. He got 40 years at the end.
40
So
years. Yeah.
40 years. So after Detective Caruso picked up the similar case in the area, he began looking for answers. It proved that Denise and Aaron were telling the truth, and they call Misty their hero and thank her for being the reason that Matthew Mueller ended up in prison. In 2016, he got 40 years in prison.
Yes.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Crazy story.
Yep.
So thank you everyone for joining us. Make sure you tune in for Monday nights. We've got a couple headlines that are really
Yeah.
crazy. And we've got our Friday night. So please tune in. Let us know what you're thinking. Give us a message. We'll be answering in the back end. We're not live. These are pre-recorded, but we are in the chat talking to
Yep.
you guys live at the same time that you guys are listening.
Monday.
So we're listening with you on
Yes.
Monday nights. Monday nights.
this
for
Friday
is
sure.
nights
live.
are purely live. Yeah. Tonight, live.
Yes. Friday nights are purely live.
Friday Night Live, Monday night is your like catch up.
Pre-recorded. Yes.
Yeah.
And if there's a
Looks like
story
we might
that you
have some for the not this upcoming Monday, but the Monday after, we might have some pretty cool catch ups on
When is my girl Mela
Misty
coming back?
Rose. I don't know. She has a story, so I'll reach out to her and see.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you everybody for joining us. And if you guys want to catch Sam and Dave I Am, they are on the Married Couple podcast Wednesday nights, which is 6:00 Pacific Standard Time on my side. 9
or 8
Central.
p.m. Central.
Central.
8 p.m. Central. So this week we are going to do another rewind episode where we will premiere. Something went wrong with it today, but we'll premiere an episode, and we'll like have a watch party with our guests or
Nice.
with everybody watching, and we'll comment kind of like we do on our pre-recorded shows for
I love
Roses
that.
Are Red.
Love that.
Since I'm here, I was like, well, I could do a show from here. I'm going to do one for this show, for Roses Are Red. He goes, no, I'd rather do this. So the next upcoming rewind show is episode 101. It's the episode right after we did our 100th episode. If you all remember, that
remember.
was in our, live in our driveway. Boy, that was a fun episode. That is where I let it slip to everyone that I hate the song "Sweet Caroline," and I was bombarded. No,
I hate it
please.
too. I hate it. No, no, trust me,
It's
I hate it.
awful. It's awful.
awful.
Also, so I should have never let anybody know my weakness on that episode, but it was fun, and we all had a good time. So
I remember making the promo for that. I made the promo with like drunk neighbor and right.
Yes.
Like, it was like live in the driveway.
Yes, exactly. So
and then 139 was it one? Wait, no, was it episode 69? Let me know when that happens.
Okay.
Fine, young gentleman. I mean, I want to see
Well,
there.
we've been trying to do ones where we don't have a copyright because it's easier to repost. Otherwise, we're gonna have to go cut it. But I don't mind recutting or cutting things up to make it fit the guidelines of YouTube. So
YouTube had now
we're
has its
gonna
own little editor, so it's easier.
yes. So we're
So
gonna go ahead.
I'm sorry, I do have a question for you before we go.
Hmm.
Did your drunk neighbor ever get an Apple tag on him? Did he come back after his little scenario he had with his date?
Technically, as I
Stay
was
tuned.
right as I got here, I called Dave and he said drunk neighbor was there having a beer. I'm excited to hear what stories he told because actually I don't know
I
if
want
I
to hear
want
it
to
so
know
bad,
this.
bro.
I
Does he
don't
have the
know if
clap?
I want to, but we may have to have him back on just to
Please.
tell his wild adventures with
Yes.
And you guys
Crazy's
go catch
daughter.
that story. Go ahead and catch the story. It's episode.
I
What
feel
episode
like
number is this?
I don't know. It was probably 130. We just were
And
on
here's
136. It
Dave.
was 135. You have no idea, he says.
You have no
Thank-
idea.
Yeah, no
No.
idea.
No idea.
I don't know. Drunk neighbor says it the best. I'm just saying. But yeah,
No.
it'll be. I think it was 135 that we had drunk neighbor. Nope. Yes.
People don't know what we're talking
we-
about. People have no idea what we're talking about. It's imagine you date a mom and then now the girl, those daughter. And there's a possibility of dating both at once.
Yes. So yeah, and if you are also into conspiracy, check out AC at Midnight Media on YouTube. Every platform that's out. Wait, why are you saying no? I'm like, why is he
Just to
shaking his
confuse
head?
you. Just to confuse you.
You're in a conspiracy.
And then yeah, if you're into
I'm like-
conspiracy and check him out on Midnight Media. You will find him on every single platform out there. He's on Twitch, Twitter, X, YouTube, you name it, he's there. Look for Midnight Media. And
I talk about
you can look
AI.
at
Yeah, he's
look
all
at the very bottom of our channels. You'll have all our links on the very bottom. You'll have the Married Couple podcast. You'll have AC, Midnight Media
Fuck!
there.
Sorry.
What happened?
Dave left a message. He said, hold on. Oh, there's not a possibility of dating both at once anymore because
Oh,
mom
okay. I got-
found out. Oh, there's so
Oh
much shit.
no.
We're gonna have to have him on, I think.
Ooh.
Now we must
Oh.
wait. So you
Spoiler
guys
alert, we
have
all
to
wanted him
tune
to date
in.
both at once. We all wanted
Yes. So now you have to tune in to the
Sickly, I
Married
did.
Couple podcast.
it. Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. So everybody tune into the Married Couple podcast when they have their drunk neighbor to listen to the story because I'm telling you, it's mind blowing. At one point, I thought maybe we were going to have him on here as telling a story because I thought he was going to be lost. Maybe
I killed them
you
both.
know.
I'm the killer, yeah.
To be fair, I thought I still think mom could be a fatal attraction, and she could do something. I don't know when his luck's gonna run out, but he seems to be like a lucky motherfucker when it comes to that shit. So
Dude, I was like, dude, you're fucking dating a mom and then like have the opportunity to date a daughter. And I was at the same time, you can line them up.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
No, that's
have a
gross.
seat, baby.
So thank you everybody for joining us tonight. And this wonderful story that had a good outcome at the end of the story, but in the beginning it was very rough.
I made AC laugh.
And then you hold it in, you fucking snort, dude. I doubled up sound.
I know.
Holy shit.
Shit.
I'm not him. Keep going. Ooh.
Oh Lord. So
I love
thank you
our family.
everybody. I do. I absolutely do. I love our little family here and it's been wonderful and it's been great. And thank you everybody for joining us. And we will see you Monday night, if not on Friday when we're live.
Yes.
So
All right.
good night, everyone.
Yas, queen. Right?
Yeah, I think that's how it goes.
I'm trying to fit in. I'm trying to fit in with a girl. I don't know.
Good night, everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.